Hello, everyone. Welcome to DCU Daily. At the end of the week, here we are. Thank God it's Friday, and we are here to bring you another wonderful show of everything from news to DC-related anything. Here we are. We have a very packed show for you today. We got some obvious box office report stuff, most prominent because it's Friday. Then we have some MCU Weekly stuff. We got some Spider-Man Brand New Day. We got a little bit of Avengers. Then Lizz decided not to see any movies today, which is okay. But in turn, I saw the newest Evil Dead film today. I was going to see it tomorrow, but a buddy of mine had something to do tomorrow, and we see every Evil Dead movie together. So I saw it today instead. So I'm going to be talking about that. And with that, Dan likes to get into business of Hollywood stuff. He likes to, be a busy businessman. So, he's going to talk about all that boring stuff while you guys can take a nap and wait till DCU Daily. But, until then, we have quick hits, and then DC quick hits, and then a little bit of DC TV news. Not a lot of news today. Unfortunately, no hot Millie Alcock picks either, so sorry, Jalen, if you're watching. But we still have tons of news for you. And with that, let's get the party started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, Mr. I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see cords.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Here we go. Let's get into it proper. Hello. Welcome, everyone, one and all, to DCU Daily. And I'm, of course, your host, John. Welcome, all the regulars, all the new people. But speaking of regulars, we have Caleb in the chat and ready to make Dan's life a living hell once again on this wonderful Friday. Monique with her delicious foods, although wasting Dr. Pepper on beans again. I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of that. But I did have regular Dr. Pepper today because I didn't have Jersey Mike's after my movie. I did have a regular fast food burger. So that was good. But so with all of that, Big Sauce. Hello, Big Sauce. Welcome to the chat. Right, dude. Lovely to see you. He's seeing Evil Dead Burn tomorrow. And then Uncler? John is a high schooler? No Unk here. What do you... I'm so confused. What? I have been called Unk by younger Gen Z, so I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, Liz is here. Hey, Liz. Two days in a row. We truly are blessed. We truly are blessed,
It's all me, John. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to get to be amongst you wonderful
patronize
people.
Me, woman. But here we are. Dan is going to come in a little bit later. He has to get things set up, but that's okay. He's going to, but if he doesn't show up, then we could just tear through Business of Hollywood in like 2 seconds, and that'll be perfect. So I will say at least the best news today, I saw a good movie, and you didn't have to see terrible movies today, Liz.
I didn't. I didn't have a great day, so rather than going and watching the live action, You're Welcome, I said, no, thank you. So, hey, I had a good movie run yesterday. Didn't feel like messing that up today. So here we are.
That's fine. That's fine. But also Hunter Gee is here. I don't think we're going to be talking about that today, but we can, I didn't read any plot leaks, but we'll see. But yeah, So speaking of Moana, though, we have to get into box office report on how it's doing. And apparently it's not doing all that great. Because apparently Moana set sail with $4.5 million in Thursday previews, which is, not gonna lie, kind of oof. I'm pretty sure Supergirl did better numbers than that on the previews.
I will say there was a girl dressed as Moana in my theater yesterday. It was very, very cute. But at the end of the day, if Toy Story 5 is still available, people aren't going to waste their time on this
No,
one,
they're not
for
gonna.
real.
And Minions and Monsters, which isn't doing
Right, yes.
amazingly well, but it's still doing a hell of a lot better than this. So
It is,
you have two
absolutely, yeah.
types of, way better animated stuff you could be watching than the fake animated stuff. So that's
Agreed.
good. Fuck Moana. No, I'm just kidding. Moana's fine. Just a
Aw,
live
sorry,
action
Ray,
Moana
dude.
sucks. But whatever. I'm not gonna see it. I don't really care. And I don't know, Liz, are you eventually going to see it, or are you just like,
I
no,
think I
I'm-
will. Yeah, no, I think that I will. Just today was not the day. Today was not the day. I'm gonna tentatively say possibly Monday or Tuesday. And if Young Washington is still in theaters, I will see that as well.
Why
But,
do you have to do this to yourself?
I do it so you don't have to. Plus, I also feel like, 250th, like, I feel like we should, I don't know.
Back when presidents were
need to
decent people.
need to see for myself how bad they're going to be, That's
I mean, it's pretty bad when they use Gen AI, but
call me a
that's,
masochist, but here we are.
you are a masochist, 100%. But yes, it is indeed very shiny. But yeah, it's like it could be worse. You could be seeing Young Washington for your job. That's probably arguably worse. But speaking in terms of like good things and good positive things and actually making money, we got Spider-Man Brand New Day, because we were talking about this yesterday, how like we're like, oh, it's gonna make like 190, and now they're like, nope, fuck that, it's gonna go way bigger.
Just
for
like you said,
domestic.
John.
Because we were talking worldwide would be 220, 250, but no, they're talking 250 for domestic. Again, I was like, whoa, I know it's going to make buku bucks. I don't know if it's going to hit that far, but like, I could see it. But with this week, Deadline reported that box office tracking, as we talked about yesterday, was 180 to 190, but a lot of analysts felt that sounded way too low. Our favorite tank top wearing hoe bag, Jeff Snyder, predicted a debut of between 225 and 245 in his newest newsletter, but even this may have been too conservative. According to Box Office Pro, the latest outing for Tom Holland's Wallcrawler could take in as much as 230 to 250 in North America alone when it releases on July 31st.
Beautiful.
If this
Good for
goes to the 250, 260 range, it could come in, a little bit below No Way Home, but still really good amount of money. So this would obviously be a huge win for Sony Pictures, Marvel Studios, and superhero cinema in general. The MCU has been crying out for a big Deadpool and Wolverine sized hit, and the recent Supergirl proved to be a critical and commercial disaster for DC Studios. You can have another look at all of this. We're gonna get into that soon enough, but yeah, honestly, I could see that as well. Like, I was being a little bit conservative with my efforts, because it's like, I never really know. Like, I feel like I mean, I went too far with Superman. I even went too far with Supergirl. I was like, and I was being like fucking majorly conservative with Supergirl. Like, oh yeah, it might make like 300 million, and it's like, damn, even that was fucking too high. So I never know. I feel like once I get a handle on like box office numbers, I'm like, oh yeah, it'll make this, and then nope. So I mean, that's what's gotten me to lose $1,000 outside of this, is CC Black is gonna be a pushy asshole about it. So here we are. That's okay though. Thoughts on this? Do you think it could go even farther than 250 or 260? Or?
I think we should leave it here. We're being very conservative again. As we've seen, especially the past couple of years, the box office is fickle. I do think that this is going to be a high number. So I'm very happy for them. Good for them. Again, all of us already have our tickets, so if that's any indication, that'll tell you right there. So I'm just thrilled. I can't wait.
The lowest, actually, speaking of, let me look into the lowest for predictions was 300 to 325, and then everyone else, like, I think the closest, the closest in terms of anybody was Acre of Movies, opening weekend, which was 47 million. That was the closest in terms of what Supergirl got, because I think it was $39.1 million is what Supergirl made, I want to say, domestically. So that was the closest. It would make more billion. Yes, it would make more billion. It would be Morbin time. I loved it when he morbed all over himself. But
Good Lord.
but yeah, so it seems like so this was the actual source, by the way, Box Office Pro. The domestic opening weekend range is 230 to 250. So yeah, so this is where the numbers come from, and it was recently, updated today. And also these are some other ones for Evil Dead Burn, Moana, The Odyssey, and then of course Spider-Man No Way Home. So yeah, looking good for everybody here, because honestly, again, for how low the budget is for Evil Dead Burn, that's pretty good numbers. But for Moana, woof. But yeah, so Box Office Pro is usually a pretty good source, but we'll see in a couple of weeks how this is going to do. But yeah, nice. I just hope Brand New Day is actually good. I haven't been thoroughly impressed with any of the MCU outings for Spider-Man, but
Yes,
I think I hope that this is as Keith David says in the preview, a rebirth. So speaking of Spider-Man, Liz, I don't know if you want to duck out now for Marvel spoilers.
We'll see how far we get here.
I mean, we just have a TV spot. The first thing is just a Brand New Day TV spot. So like that's not too bad. So the Hulk thrashes Spidey. Hello. I thought that would be happening in the Wood Rocket parody, but in action-packed preview, in this latest TV spot for the MCU movie, Spidey's clash with the Jade Giant moves to the side of a building with the Hulk flinging the web slinger into the distance. There are also some never-before-seen shots of the hero battling the Scorpion and the Hand. The latter clash continues teasing Spider-Man's transformation, though whether Man-Spider will emerge to fight this savage green Goliath remains to be seen. We wouldn't necessarily bank on that, but there has to be a bigger endgame in mind than just organic webbing, right? Hopefully Marvel and Sony will resist the urge to show us too much of Spider-Man's confrontations with the Hulk in future sneak peeks, especially as Sadie Sink's antagonist is being kept under wraps. So, yeah, I did take a look at the promo. I think Dan might have had a link for it, but I don't want us to.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah. There he is.
There he is.
All right, you boys have fun talking spoilers. Bye.
Okay. So, yeah. Let's not try to get demonetized, Dan. Let's not show too much.
Oh, I'm just skipping across. I mean, you get to see more of the hand stuff because it's like he's hi, Caleb. He's seeing in slow motion, which I think they're emphasizing again.
Oh God, is Spider-Man going to be part of the Speed Force now? Anyway,
maybe. Paul. There's Paul again. Yeah. This is new though. He's got like this punching weapon. I haven't seen this yet.
Yeah, that was allegedly like the shocker. Like, oh yeah, he's using shockers. Like
okay.
Shit. Like I remember we mentioned that a week or so ago. But yeah.
There's the shot. Right there.
Dan is never too early nor too late. He arrives precisely when he needs to.
You're speaking facts there, not wrong about that. I love this new stuff. I mean, some of this footage like we haven't seen in the US trailers or promos, so it's exciting because it's new stuff. And I'm like, why did they save this stuff for international market? Maybe it just connects better. I mean, maybe it just works better for the audiences in that part of the world. I think this first one actually, I might have reversed it because this is the Korean trailer. This is the other one. This is the one where we get to see more of him in his, before he, well, I guess the winter suit. Hi, right, dude. Hello to D. Cole. Hello to Just Some Geeky Guy. Figure drawing, of course, Caleb, Marvel Cuphead, and Monique I saw earlier in the chat, as well as George. Oh, no, I think that meant you. Okay. George is just not our George. It's still probably sleeping. It's late for George. It's 3 a.m. for George in London. Hey Nelson, what's up everyone? I unexpectedly saw the live action. You did. I went into it with low expectations. Was a good family movie. Dwayne wasn't cringe at all like the trailer showed. 6.5 is the rating Nelson gave Moana. That's pretty good. I like. Okay. By the way, this is the promo I was trying to get to earlier. I accidentally put up we don't have to spend time on the Korean trailer again. So this is John, this here in the promo, you get that line again. You think I'm the Scorpion, but now he's doing it like when he's in the winter, like streets of New York, rather than like at night, which we heard. So do you think they've done multiple versions of this? It's confusing how many times Scorpion is gonna fight him.
It seems like at least twice because,
But it seems like he hits him with the same line. Unless, I mean, Jean Grey is controlling all these guys, which would be interesting. This looks like a comic panel.
Yep.
There's our guy. More comic panel. Oh, yeah, Hulk is definitely smashing Spider-Man. Oh, bye, Spider-Man. But I think, is this the one? Or was it the other one? Is where Spider-Man gets help from Punisher. Yeah, I agree with you. This shot looks a little CGI, maybe a little too airbrushed on his face, but maybe it's just because of the lighting.
It looks like the Giga Chad meme, or
It
Handsome
just-
Squidward.
Unless this is meant to be like one of those things where he's going so slow that his face isn't moving much, and like he's going so fast, and we just have to slow it down to show the action. Hey, Smacky.
We'll talk about that later.
Spoiler? Yeah.
Yeah, Hunter Iggy already
we'll
brought
get
it
to
up.
Lanterns.
We'll talk about it later. So, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, is this something that I missed? What happened with? Is there a leak for Lanterns? Oh shit,
yeah.
there is. Okay, I think you got. Do you have it, John? We'll get to it.
I'm getting it up now. So,
yeah. Anyway, okay, I will get to that. By the way, we knew somebody was gonna die. Okay, where's that shot? Where is that shot? Is that not in here? It must be in the other trailer. There's a shot literally where Spider-Man is fighting the Hulk, and you could see he's pulling the Punisher with one of his webs as he's sliding with the gun, trying to shoot him from under. That was a really cool shot that I thought was worth talking about. I mean, obviously we know from the book that got leaked, the art book, that Punisher is going to be part of the fight.
I understand what they're doing.
Hey, Senju.
Okay, yeah. I have the leak up, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Justin. Oh, Justin, you got with the super chat. Sadie Sink is the character Karma. I don't know who Karma is. John, do you know who Karma is?
No, I know Karma Chameleon, but that's about it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. I mean, that's a good guess, I suppose. You would gonna have to explain to us who Karma is. Unfortunately, neither of us know. The Tombstone TV spot reveals a major plot point. They haven't shown Tombstone. What are you talking about? Are you talking Tombstone and Spider-Man? Because I don't think they've given away Tombstone in any of the spots, unless again we have missed something, which I don't believe we did. We're just looking at the Korean promo, and then there was another ad spot that they had dropped. So, yeah, this looks nice. Okay, cool. By the way, I just found out that the Odyssey cost $250 million to make. Another 100 just about to probably market. I'm sure he's gonna make his money back. I'm sorry. Scorpion and Spider-Man. Oh yeah. Major plot point. What do you mean by major? You mean? I was trying to figure that out because I mean, there isn't anything different than what we have seen. Like, I don't think there's any new major plot points. I mean, we get to see more of the Hulk fight. We get to see the second time, or maybe this is the first time that Scorpion fights Spider-Man in the movie. So and this might be the first time because he's still got his web shooters on. So, yeah. All right. Well, we'll leave that there. Yeah, the Odyssey cost 250 million. Yes. But you know what? That Superman movie last year apparently cost 200 million. So, can you blame them? Like, they had to actually build a boat and like travel like to 7 different locations around the world, pay the salaries of all those A-list actors. It's just, I can believe it. You know, you could see the money on screen. We'll see when the movie comes out. Anyway, John, let's keep going with Spider-Man before we get too sidetracked. We'll get to more DC and Odyssey stuff later in the show. Yeah. Do you think I'm Scorpion? Yes, but he said that before another one too, by the way. That's what I was saying, John. Like, he has said, "Do you think I'm Scorpion?" twice, and both times they've dubbed it over different. Like, one for the first fight scene, which we see in the new promo, and one with the old one. So, it must be hinting at whoever's mind controlling him. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if it's a tombstone thing or not, though. Yeah. All right, let's keep going, John. We got one more Spider-Man thing.
Yeah, we have one more Spider-Man thing outside of the 2 promos we got.
Yeah.
But apparently details on the Hand's leader and a surprise link to Rocket Raccoon. AIPT has shared some insights from the book, the art book we've been talking about for the past few days, including remarks from Spider-Man Brand New Day producer Emily Fong. It was a delicate balance of picking ones that fans would recognize, as well as some that are more niche, but not too niche. We wanted to focus on the sequence that characters could take down or handle within maybe a day or two in terms of the villains, like, you know, Boomerang,
yeah, like they want to
Tarantula.
montage it. Right.
Yeah. Fong also revealed that the Hand, which returns to the MCU for the first time since its defeat in Netflix's The Defenders, has been without leadership, but may now finally realize its potential under new guidance. If Elektra is leading them, then we could be in store for a wild cameo in Brand New Day ahead of her return in Season 3 next year. Fans remain hopeful that the ninjas have been dispatched to try and free Matt Murdock, leading to a team-up that ends with Daredevil telling Spidey he'll remain behind bars. That may be wishful thinking, and Fong could just be referring to that mystery female character who seems to be in charge of the group. Many fans expect that Damage Control will be up to no good in the movie, like usual, and the book confirms that they've assembled weapons from salvaged Chitauri, Sakaran, and Rocket Raccoon technology. The latter getting a mention is unexpected, but is likely a result of the time the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise's lead spent on Earth in Avengers Endgame. Jean DeWolf, meanwhile, is described as an important sounding board for the web slinger in Spider-Man Brand New Day, with their relationship developing as this movie's story plays
Which
out.
is true to the comics. Yeah, true to the comics. Lisa Zayas Cologne plays that character. I think we talked about that when she
the woman from The Bear, right?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry. I just remember
yeah.
as from The Bear. That's all.
No. It's
But
fair.
yeah.
But I mean, yeah. If you guys know, you know. But
Yeah,
that
this is
character's. I'm
interesting.
surprised they've never brought that character from the comics into the movies all these years in different iterations. But it's good to see that there will be now. So, but yeah. All right. Well, good stuff there. I mean, the Rocket Raccoon thing is pretty minor. I don't know if they're gonna mention it by dialogue, or that's just the production designer talking about it, like in terms of like, oh, you know, these were the inspirations for us, because it does look like as much as I hate that, like DODC, like that's just the stupidest. Like, as much as I hate, like, you know, they go way over the top with like, we're gonna make this acronym turn into, you know, spell out shield, or what was the one in like WandaVision that they had, the other one with whatever. But as much as I hate how acronyms are, you know, backwards engineered, I think DODC is such an ugly sounding thing. I'm like, I almost wish it was a different organization, but like, anyway, the DODC has been such a big part of the MCU in the recent movies and shows that I guess it just makes sense. They're like, you know, going into the mutant era, they're gonna expand that. Right, dude, I also read the Odyssey back in high school. Yeah, it's been a long time though, so don't remember all the details. Yeah, the list of non-Spider-Man things. This movie is gonna be packed, super packed. Oh yeah, the infamous barf. Yeah, fuck's sake. At least you can laugh at barf. I'm like, what is DODC? Like Dodd, like it's like you can't, you know, it's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. He called my invention barf. Yeah. But you know, you can't make fun of DODC. That's why I hate it, which is a very dumb reason. But I'm gonna stick by it. Anyway, let's keep going. We got to talk about Avengers. John, I'm pretty sure we talked about this before, but basically what happened was at South by Southwest London, they had the Russo brothers show up to a Deadline Hollywood keynote speaker session, and they were asking questions and talking about their future, and I believe when the quotes came out within one of the Deadline articles a month ago, we talked about how the Russos were saying there's certainly a possibility that we might be coming back for more. But if you scroll down in this article, because basically the video came out now, and so the video transcript is going around, and people are like, "Oh, they said this." I'm like, "It's not new. This is from a month or two ago." But to TLDR it, the Russo brothers were basically saying like everything we have done, like when they walked away after Endgame, they had told their like 4 or 5 movie arc story, in the sense that they started with the Winter Soldier, and the story of the Winter Soldier almost like directly like between that and Civil War, it leads into Infinity War and then Endgame. So when they walked away, they were like, we felt like we told the story that we wanted to. It would we put a closing period, full stop, whatever on it. And so they're saying that, but now with Secret Wars and Doomsday, the stories are kind of like those two movies play into each other, as we know, and ultimately that's kind of a complete sentence they use as the analogy or metaphor. So they're not really looking at coming. I mean, they don't think they'll be back anytime soon, and unless something else comes up. So they're not giving anything away about Avengers 7 or a potential Secret Wars Part 2. They didn't close the door on it. That's certainly a possibility. But between the two Russos, again, from this video, you can go on Deadline Hollywood's YouTube channel to find the whole thing. But they were just saying, they're always going to leave the door open, because when Kevin Feige calls, why would they not say yes? But other than that, they didn't really confirm or give away any other, spoilery details, which I'm sure, well, why would they? They did say, though, like from a month or so ago when they talked about this, that they're in pre-production, or were at the time on pre-production on Secret Wars. So Sanju saying, I have no idea who the Avengers post Secret Wars. Iron Man, Black Widow are dead. Thor and Cap future uncertain. Well, Cap went to the past. There's a new Cap in town. Thunderbolts and Sam are the new Avengers. Oh God. Well, actually, the new Avengers does not include Sam, because Sam has his own Avengers team, which we don't really know who that is yet, because the last we saw, he was like, yes, I'm going to go assemble the Avengers after Captain America Brave New World, but we don't know who decided to join the team. We just know that the new Avengers from Thunderbolts are a team, the government's version of a team. So, yeah, it's a very good question. Who is on the team? Because last we checked, Doctor Strange was out there in the multiverse stopping incursions, and Shang-Chi hadn't really met any of the other Avengers yet. Bruce Banner did meet Shang-Chi and knows Wong, but now he's going to be in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So there's a lot of pieces kind of all strewn all over. I think, John, the reason why you're concerned about Doomsday is like there's a lot of work that they had to cover so much ground to actually put the pieces together before you can actually take them places. But I don't know. I mean, they did it in Infinity War, everybody was scattered and they managed to bring them all together eventually for a finale. So do you care to comment on anything that the Russo brothers said here?
It's I mean, things are always changing. Here's the thing. In terms of any of this, if they do their job that Kevin Feige hired them to do, not make a good movie, not make anything that will be remembered in 10 years' time, the thing that will make Kevin Feige and the MCU fucking $10 quadrillion, then they're gonna come back. If they bring these fuckers back and then they do I'm not gonna say Supergirl numbers, but they don't make the numbers that Mr. Feige wants, then yeah, they're just gonna go back to their shitty Netflix action movies that nobody watches. So that's essentially what's gonna happen. Is it gonna make $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion? Then sure, they'll come back. If not, nope. That's a big old nope. It's just it literally all depends if Doomsday and or Secret Wars makes Kevin Feige all the money. That's literally all that matters. Because I can't imagine oh yeah, we're gonna get the guys who did Gray Man and see and see if oh yeah, we're gonna have a mediocre action movie and on top of that not make money. Nah, fam, that ain't us. We only make mediocre action movies if it makes us more $1 billion. So, that's all it is. I know that sounds kind of cynical, but it's no one's pretending that the reason these guys came back is like, oh, I want to see what the Russo brothers' vision is. You know why? Because the Russo brothers don't have a fucking vision. They just gave the MCU $4 billion in 2 years. And that's not even counting the billion that Black Panther and Captain Marvel made in between those movies. So, wait, did Black Panther?
It was Ant-Man. It was Ant-Man.
Not in between, but Black Panther and Captain Marvel in addition to those two movies. So,
well, the first Black Panther came out before Infinity War, but
no, that's what I mean.
Civil
Like,
War.
I thought for a sec, I thought it was in between. No, Black Panther came out.
But no,
before,
but like it was
then,
in between the Russo brothers movies, because they
so
they did Civil War, Infinity War.
It's just like, oh yeah, of course it needs to make money, but it's just like, how much money? Probably at least $2 billion, maybe at least 1.5 for each movie. So that's what they have to do. If they make that amount of money again, they're coming back for fucking Avengers 7. So, and that's all it is. If they don't make that money, I mean, maybe like they'll be given like something small, maybe something to produce. Maybe they'll produce the next Avengers movies if like these don't make the money that Feige wants. But I can't imagine that's like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring back these guys. This shit's gonna make $1 billion at most, which is still a good amount of money. But like, I feel like, it just, why else would they fucking come back? Why else would Kevin Feige hire them? The fucking Phase 4, Phase 5 have been not the money makers that they want, and so they're like, all right, let's get the guys who made us money. So they're bringing back the guys that made us money. So, and that's all you can really say about that, because, again, Russo brothers aren't like directors that have a major vision. I mean, again, not everyone has to be like Kubrick. I understand that. Like, you can have like schlock. That's okay. That's why, I mean, film is, it's a spectrum. So you can have like the B grade schlock that's a-okay to, enjoy, but you can also have the really good stuff. But it's just like, if you're gonna have like, oh, mediocre action movie with nostalgia bait and that doesn't make money, what's the point? So it all depends. If they make the money, cool, they're probably back. If not, maybe producing stuff. Maybe they'll like produce like a Disney Plus series, and then Kevin Feige's like, hey, get the fuck out of my house. So yeah.
Fair point. And we won't know for sure. Nobody's gonna say out loud what they're gonna do beyond. I think right now they don't even want to have the attention on anything beyond just these Avengers movies coming out and Spider-Man. So there's no reason. I mean, yes, they're gonna talk about, if they do reveal it at Comic-Con this year in just days time at this point, weeks time. They're gonna probably talk about the X-Men movie, maybe the third Black Panther movie. I don't think they're gonna talk about like the Russos are coming back for more. But look, the Russo brothers have always delivered, for the MCU. So if they continue to do it, then why wouldn't, there's a reason why they went back to them, right? So, and Kevin Feige's like, I trust these guys. They did it before. I need a guaranteed banger. So there we go. I bet you the Doomsday budget is probably going to be over 300 million, considering how the previous two Avengers, the budgets were around that. I don't know if 500 million is true. I wouldn't be surprised at this point, Josh, because like we have seen, like the Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny budget was huge, but there was a few years there where all the movies, including like the two of the last Mission Impossible movies, were all affected by the COVID 19 pandemic, the other the VFX with the strikes, all the backlogs and stuff, and so the budgets ballooned for a lot of the big blockbusters. But still, I think for the Avengers movies, if there's any movie that can justify that big of a budget because they'll make that money back and then some, you could do it for the Avengers films. Filmology is saying, I know this is a really random cameo, but if a Raimi Aunt May somehow makes a cameo, I'm gonna cry. The Raimi Aunt May. Is she still around? Is she still?
Yeah, no, Rosemary Harris is still kicking. She's like 97, I think now.
Oh God!
All the Aunt Mays are still alive. All the live action Aunt Mays are alive.
I would love to see it. Like, I would not mind it at all. I just don't know how likely it is. It just doesn't even make any sense. It would I don't. The thing is, it's like you gotta wonder, because like when you bring back Professor X and Magneto, everybody knows Sir Charles, Sir
it's
Patrick
essentially
Stewart,
what happened with Solo. Is they got rid of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and then they brought back they brought someone who was a reliable veteran, Ron Howard, and it still didn't work. But I don't think it's going to be like Solo. I think
Well,
it
this
is
isn't
going to
the
make a lot of money.
but like they're not picking up a movie; they're starting from scratch. But I was just saying
Right.
about the Rosemary Harris version of like you can't bring that back that Aunt May because I don't know if it's gonna create as much of an audience like, oh my god, that is the Aunt May from the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Like people don't recognize her, I don't think, as much as, you know, Professor X, Magneto, Wolverine, you know, like those characters are much more recognized. So like, is it really worth it? So it might be a great pop for the older audiences, but you got to remember a lot of the younger audiences didn't grow up with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So it's you know, it's only going to appeal to a small section of the movie going audience, unfortunately. But anyway, let's talk about this next thing. Now again,
we want Liz to come back, so let's just speed through this shit.
Because there was, so again, the John Campea channel, like I haven't been watching recently, but I used to check them out quite often. And look, I trust what they say because, you know, John Campea has generally been good with, like, he's not throwing out random shit and stuff. But it's like when it comes to some of these movies, like every once in a while, like you get it, like where they start like hinting at things on the show that, you know, they're not willing to give you the full story. They just want to like give you the half story and just be like, oh, I can't put this out there, but I know. I'm like, just keep it to yourself, you know, like why you gotta like cock tease everybody. But basically they've been teasing for a couple of days now about how, John, if you scroll down here, that apparently, according to some insiders that John Campea heard from, Avengers Doomsday, so the quote is right there, apparently when they shot the movie, everything felt great, everything looked great, but now that they're editing, they're discovering some issues. But apparently somebody else...
If I had a nickel for every 2026 superhero movie that ended up like that, I'd have 2 nickels.
But apparently then somebody else told John Campea that that's not what I heard. So, and then again, we have heard this rumor from many scoopers, Daniel Rickman being the newest one to say, he's not the first one, that there's going to be a shocking kill that Doomsday makes in the movie, which I'll tell you right now, it's out there, has been for months, that apparently Dr. Doom will kill Steve Rogers' son, who, quite frankly, I don't think most people will care as much as people might think, because we don't know the guy. We probably would have met him for minutes by the time he gets offed on screen. There's no sense of like,
think, you know
what
why?
I mean? It's
you know why I think it's shocking? Because I think it might be a kid. Like it might be but that's pretty shocking, especially for a Disney movie.
Well, but aside then, no, I understand that it's gonna be. I know that, like I've seen it, like that it's gonna be a kid. Like they're gonna, you know, like Doom is gonna off a kid. But
which is like based. It won't make me see the movie, but I do love me some child murder in some movies. All right, I will say that. And Evil Dead Burn does feature child murder, so.
I just think for me it's the matter of like, if you just introduce the character, we don't like. Here's the thing: if you manage to sneak in a scene or two where you get a, you know, I love you 5,000, or was it I love you 3,000, you know, equivalent that Tony Stark's kid had. That if you get to one of those, because then you're like, oh, the hell, the fuck no, you don't do that shit. But yeah, and it's also that thing of, John, literally everybody else is gonna die at the end of Doomsday, because then they gotta get to Battle World. So I'm like, why does it matter that you kill one person a little bit sooner? Does that change the rules for who can come back after you get back from Battle World? Because like you can literally write yourself out of any situation the way the mechanics of these two movies is going to work. So it just, you know, it doesn't, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, gasp, like it's come on. But regarding the whole things are not going well in post-production bit of this article, John, if you can scroll up, I could go to the very top of the article even, but here's the thing: even if they are struggling in post with like some of the stuff is not lining up, they got more than enough money to go do reshoots. They have reshoots budgeted for and scheduled. I'm sure they already did some of them. We have heard reports that they were in the process of filming some reshoots this summer before they start filming Secret Wars. I wouldn't, you know, be surprised that that's what's going on, because I think the same thing happened with the previous Avengers movies. I remember hearing the same thing about the first Aquaman movie, and then that movie came out and made $1 billion. It doesn't always work out, because we have heard it for the Supergirl movie, for the second Aquaman movie, they had issues in post-production. They went and did reshoots. We know they did 9 pages of rewrites, I think it was, from Jeremy Slater for Supergirl, and then they did reshoots. It doesn't always work out, but more often than not, especially when so much money is on the line, I bet you they're gonna like find a way to make it, you know, work to a degree that, you know, they know that's gonna not be a box office disaster. And you really gotta shit the bed for these Avengers movies that are coming up to not make money. So yeah, I don't think this is a matter of like, oh no, God, everybody worry about Avengers Doomsday is going to be a total mess.
No, nothing like
They'll
that. Well,
figure it out, and yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just saying, I would be incredibly shocked if Avengers Doomsday comes out and it's got like a 38% Rotten Tomato score and a 76%, audience popcorn meter score, and it's got like a B- cinema score. It would be like, I don't think Marvel is gonna do that.
Laughing my ass off.
It would be hilarious. It would also be like terrible because for the industry, because like that might kill the superhero genre faster than Supergirl or any other Sony Marvel movie has. But so yeah, for the genre's sake, I hope that it doesn't do that bad. But it's outside of that, I look, Disney's got way too much writing on these movies, so I don't think they're gonna shit the bed that hard. They'll figure it out. It's just growing pains in post productions and movies of this size are usual. You have such a big cast, things are not always gonna line up perfectly, and they remake movies in post production at Marvel all the time. One of the things that James Gunn was trying to get away from, and I guess until Supergirl. So anyway, we'll leave that there. John, you want to bring Liz back in? We gotta talk about some movie talk madness. So yeah, let's get into that. I don't know, actually, Liz, do you want to be a part of this? Like, do you care to hear John talk about?
I just want to know if John peed his pants, or if he fainted, or if he.
Okay, I'll let you guys do it then.
Okay.
Let's talk about it, John.
Let's get into movie talking. Let's talk the movies. Let's talk about the madness, because we are talking about Evil Dead Burn. Well, I'm talking about Evil Dead Burn. So, as many know, I don't just have this random poster in the background for nothing. I am a huge Evil Dead fan. I love Evil Dead. It is my favorite horror franchise. I genuinely believe it is the best horror franchise. I think, like, outside of one entry, all of them are good to great movies, even amazing movies. And does Evil Dead Burn join the pantheon of greatness that comes with the Evil Dead name? I think so. I think Evil Dead Burn is a great movie. Is it an amazing movie? No. Is it the best in the franchise? No. However, I do think it's a great movie, but it does have some problems. So I'm going to be... I'll get to that soon enough, but I'm going to be talking about my initial thoughts right now. And if y'all don't know what this is about, then, it's about a woman whose husband died in a car accident, and it's connected to the demons of the book of the Deadites, of the Book of the Dead, and so chaos ensues from there. I think this is... it's unfortunate because I do kind of agree with some of the critics that are like, something is missing. I kind of agree with that. Unfortunate. I hate to agree with critics on this one, but I will say something was missing that prevented this from being better. And with that, but in terms of positives, I thought the cast for the most part was very good. I think, usually when it comes to Evil Dead movies, nobody is really all that well known. Only movies like where like fame would come after that, because it's like small time. It's a very niche franchise, very niche like character. The only big name would be Jane Levy. I think she had Suburgatory prior to this, so she was like kind of well known. And then obviously Bruce Campbell would become famous after like the initial success of the Evil Dead franchise. So it usually doesn't have known people, and I will say most of the cast is pretty good here. They do believable performances. I think all of them do a good job. I would say the final girl, she's good in the context of the movie. However, in the context of the franchise, I will say she's probably the most forgettable final character. Obviously, Ash is the best one because, you know, the GOAT. But with that, I think even though I don't like the remake, I would say even Jane Levy was better. I liked what's her name, Mia, Jane Levy's character from the remake. One of the few things I like about the remake, and then Beth was great in Evil Dead Rise. Alice is okay, but it just like I liked her arc, but it just she didn't like do anything major that made her like jump off the page. Like I really liked like the previous movie, you have that arc, but she felt memorable. Like she had a good like fuck you, I'm better than what you think I am moment. She never really got like a big moment that made her like, oh my god, like this is great. She had plenty of amazing moments. It's just like nothing like hit it. I'm not saying she's a bad actress. Not saying that Sebastian, I forget the I can't even pronounce the director's name. He's a French director. Nothing against her or him. I just think there's something about her didn't click properly for me, and she's kind of the least memorable of all the final girls of the new Evil Dead movies, but the final, you know, any of the final people. But with that, I think, you know, like the kills are great, the gore is awesome, like it's like all the violence is what you come to expect of an Evil Dead movie. But like when I hear people like, oh, this woman fainted in my movie, oh my god, it was so brutal, oh my god, my friend nearly puked, it's like, have you not seen an Evil Dead movie before? Have you not seen a movie before? This is probably the least brutal out of all the Evil Dead movies. Like, even Army of Darkness, which is an action comedy, was more brutal than this movie. It's got a lot of gore and maybe, like, one or two, like, wince-worthy moments. Like, I would say the only major, like, where I kind of winced was, like, when the pen gets stuck in her ear and she has to pull it out with tweezers. I'm like, okay, that was, like, that's cool. Like, that's a good, like, disturbing kind of moment. But, like, for the most part, like, it's really not that brutal. Like, it's not saying it's bad. It's just, like, you know, people, oh my god, they fainted. It's like, then they're a pussy-ass fucking bitch who hasn't seen an Evil Dead movie. That's the best I can say about that. I think, you know, I liked how they do try to give them a bit more, like, in terms of, like, character arcs, and, the Deadites actually have a goal in this movie. Like, the Deadites aren't just, like, there to, like, come in, fuck your shit up, and leave. They actually want, the Kandarian dagger that, I think the grandfather of this family found. So, like, the whole thing is, like, there's lore with this grandfather. They find his, like, notes, and, like, apparently he traveled the world. He found this, like, kind of weird cult that was, like, against the whole, like who knew about the Deadites, who knew about, like, the devil, like, coming back and wreaking havoc upon the world. They knew about all that, so, like, they tried to, like, warn people, and the grandfather knew that the Deadites would be coming after him, so, like, he like, left his family, and they all hated him because he left. But he knew of all this shit. And the son of the movie, the one, the one on the furthest left there, Joe, he found all, he's writing a book, so he finds all this research, and that's what, like, you know, partially causes everything. This is definitely goes hand in hand with the last movie. It's definitely like an actual sequel to Rise. If you remember from Evil Dead Rise, the opening of that movie is where that girl, like, kills all her friends, and then that leads to the flashback, and then we find, like, the precursor of how, like, this girl got possessed at the lake. But the girl at the lake, the Deadite possessed girl at the lake, she was, like, waiting in the water, and, like, months later, she, you know, comes back, causes the car accident of the dude of this family, part of this family, and then, like, you know, causes all of this. So it's, like, kind of a Book of the Dead thing, kind of, like, different. But so this is very much a story heavy Evil Dead movie. If you don't like that, then you're probably not going to like this movie. But it does have like a couple of those like stupid character moments like in horror movies. Usually Evil Dead movies don't really go down that line, but I think I do think that I didn't mind the story aspect because it's like I think it has a good balance between like what we love of Evil Dead, but also kind of trying some new stuff. Not all the new stuff works, but I still think it like is for the most part pretty good. I think it's just yeah, that's exactly what I was referencing. Like, yeah, she's a bitch. She's a fucking pussy ass bitch. Like, if she can't handle this, then she's never like seen a movie before. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You know, I think is that intense? No, it's not intense at all. Like it's like Evil Dead. It's like classic Evil Dead. Yeah, but Evil Dead Burn, so all the good stuff is like the acting, brutal kills, not super brutal, but like brutal for like, you know, in the realm of Evil Dead, but even then it's not as brutal as any of the other movies. It's got some good character stuff because the whole thing with Alice is that Will, the son in this family who dies at the beginning of the movie, he was like a hardcore abuser. So like she's like overcoming her trauma and abuse. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting point to make. I like how the Deadites had a goal, like with the Kandarian dagger. And I like, you know, the effects are really good. The again, the kills are great, all that stuff. The second half is better than the first half. It's more engaging, a lot more fun. The weak points is that the structure is off. I would say it suffers from that thing. You know, this happened for me with some of Ryan Coogler's later movies, like Black Panther and Sinners, where like the first half of the movie feels like the first act, while the second half of the movie feels like acts 2 and 3 scrunched together. I've noticed that a lot of movies are doing that now, and I don't know if it's like a aesthetic choice, like just kind of a new thing to do, like, ooh, we're getting away from the 3-act structure kind of vibe, but it feels like awkward and like kind of stilted at times. So like that's like not great, but I think I do think that it I think that is a major issue for me, is that the structure is a problem. Some of the editing is a little bit off. Again, it feeds into that structure where it's just like, it just feels weirdly edited, like it just feels kind of wonky. And then on top of the fact, some of the action, like some of the brutal action is like, it's like kind of does that haphazard editing thing, which I'm not a fan of. It's like, this isn't the 2000s anymore. You don't have to fucking do that. But I think, and the thing is another, it's not as brutal as on our other entries. I mentioned that before. It's not brutal at all. Like it's really not. Like I would say some of the shit in Obsession is more brutal than this, and that's really not. And that's not saying much, because Obsession is not very much a brutal movie, but some of the stuff in that movie is more brutal than this. I think it's just like a little like, I'm like, okay. But and then another thing I found was weird. The humor was not great. Like it was funny in a sort of like passing mention kind of way, where it was like, haha, it's like in a haha humor sort of way, like, oh, here's like a joke here and there. Like, oh, haha, here, grandma's racist again. It's like, you know, that's like a running gag in the movie where grandma's like, you stole money from me, to the one like person of color throughout this entire movie. So it's just like that's kind of it. Like there is some like some decent funny moments, but not like in the Evil Dead kind of way, where it's like, you know, I would say I don't think it's too bleak, because all the fucking Evil Dead movies are bleak. It takes itself slightly too seriously, much like the remake did. However, Jessica, I think that was Jessica. Yeah. But I think it just like it was not as campy as it should have been. Like Evil Dead Rise was like Lee Cronin understood the assignment, and he under-fucking-stood what Evil Dead was. Like, that man understood what made Evil Dead just as much as Sam Raimi. Like, he is the only other person to understand Evil Dead. I don't like what Fede Alvarez did. I respect what he tried to do, but I feel like that movie had an identity crisis and was, like, way too edgy and torture porny for the time. And then with this one, it didn't feel as Evil Dead-y as it should have. Like, you know, a friend of mine mentioned where he was like, the grandmother in the movie, she only has like one leg. She, you know, she's just old. She's like dementia ridden and whatever. But like, she gets kind of knocked down the stairs one time, and she just kind of like just starts like cutting her leg off. But like like my friend was like, what should have happened was like she just starts like putting a jig. She just starts dancing, and then I'm like, yeah, and then you could have had like her being like, have you heard about the one-legged man in the ass kicking contest? Like, that would have been funny. Like, that would have been like kind of the campy thing that works in like Evil Dead. This just felt, it was like taking itself slightly too seriously. I still think it's a great movie, and I still think it's leaps and bounds ahead of the remake, because the remake took itself way too seriously, and it just like at a certain point it just didn't feel like Evil Dead anymore. It feels like an Evil Dead ripoff without any of the things that make Evil Dead good. This still had something to it that was good. Like, it still felt like Evil Dead for the most part. It just like something was missing. Like something, I'm like, I think the something is like, it didn't have that trademark humor, that trademark balance that made Evil Dead so good. Like, all the movies, like, I think the original trilogy, Ash vs. the Evil Dead, and Evil Dead Rise all feel like Evil Dead movies the most. This kind of sort of does. The remake, not at all. That does not feel like an Evil Dead movie to me. So, that's what I whispered to my friend, I'm like, how much you want to bet they're going to do a gremlin kill with that, where they launch the bitch out the window and they didn't fucking do. That would have been a good Evil Dead moment, where you fucking launch the bitch out of a window. It's like, oh my god, that's Evil Dead. And again, a friend of mine who I saw it with also said this. It's just like, the thing about Evil Dead movies and the things that make them work, yes, exactly, something like that. The things that make Evil Dead work is that it happens to people that don't deserve it. Everyone in this movie fucking deserved to die, except for Alice and Joe's girl. Like, pretty much the women outside of the mom didn't deserve to die. Meanwhile, like the dad, so Alice's husband, Will, who's the guy who dies at the beginning of the movie, is like classic abusive piece of shit. The father also seems to be an abusive piece of shit. The mom like hates Alice because reasons, and then Joe, the brother of Will and the son, is just like a fucking giant pussy. So it's just like, none of the characters are really all that likable, which I don't mind that, because again, you're kind of doing new things with the franchise. But at the same time, it's just like, where are we at? Like, what are we doing? Like, what is this? Like, because you gotta have that balance of like trying new things that work, but at the same time holding on to the core of Evil Dead. I think this kind of holds on to the core of Evil Dead, but it's slipping through the fingers. Like, it's like it kind of holds on, and it's like 1 second away from dropping. Meanwhile, remake is just like drops the ball entirely. This one's kind of like, it's like kind of holding on to it, like 1 second away from dropping. Like, it's at the tip of its fingers. Like, it's there. It for the most part gets it, but it's just not entirely there. But I think, so before I run, sorry, I just love Evil Dead and I love talking about it, so if I go too long, I apologize. But I think for the most part, it's a great movie. I enjoyed my time with it. I really liked it. Is it a little disappointing? Absolutely. I think Evil Dead Rise, and of course, the Bruce Campbell trilogy, all better. The show, better. But I think it's still better than the remake, the 2013 film, although technically it's not a remake anymore. But I think it did have some things that prevent it from being better. I'd probably give it like an 8.5 out of 10. I think it, it's good. Like, it's a very, I would say it's a great movie. Beyond very good. But I think it's, not quite as good as it should have been. However, considering that the second weakest of this franchise is at an 8.5 out of 10, just goes to show Evil Dead is the best franchise, is the best horror franchise, like, without a doubt. I might not love the remake as a lot of other people do, but, like, I think it's, I don't think the remake is a horrible, atrociously awful movie. It's like a 4 out of 10. Like, it has some good in it. It doesn't feel like an Evil Dead movie to me. So, yeah, I think, if you're expecting more of what Evil Dead Rise brought you, then you're probably going to be disappointed. Like, that good balance of campiness. Hell, like, and if you're expecting something super abhorrently brutal, you're not going to get that either. You're not going to get something as campy as Evil Dead Rise, and you're not going to get something as brutal as Evil Dead 2013. It's like kind of caught in the middle, and honestly, that kind of makes it almost like worse. Not worse than the remake, but worse than, I'm like, oh, it should have just been, its own thing. But I think I agree with you, Angelica. That is another thing. I don't want to I already kind of got into spoilery stuff a little bit. I'm not going to get into the post-credit scene, but I will say I didn't like the post-credits. The mid-credit scene was fun. I hated the post-credit scene. I liked one thing about the post-credit scene, and that was the child murder, because that's always a good thing, because child murder is awesome. But I don't like what they did with that, and it feels like now you're writing yourself into a corner for the next Evil Dead movie after Evil Dead Wrath, because Evil Dead Wrath is a prequel. It's going to take place in 1972, about a decade prior to the first movie. So I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I feel bad for the person that, like, oh god, I gotta do this for my next movie? That's dumb. I don't want to do that. So, but the good thing about Evil Dead is the continuity is kind of like whatever, so you don't have to, like, do anything major with it. But yeah, it's just, and plus the continuity is, like, weird, but hey, Evil Dead has never been about good continuity. It's like the Fox X-Men series, like, we have the worst continuity, and meanwhile, Evil Dead is just like, hold my fucking beer, you got nothing on me. So yeah, but Evil Dead Burn, good times, great times. Yes, there is a post-credit scene for Evil Dead. There's a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. Yeah, kind of. But yeah, well, I don't know if they're doing Wrath, because, like, there might be some connection with the grandfather character that they might be doing in this movie, and they might be doing something with Evil Dead Wrath, but I don't think they're gonna do that. But also, hi, Enterprising, nice to see you. But yeah, Evil Dead Burn, go. I would say if you are a fan of the franchise, it could go either way for you. If you really liked the remake, I think you'll really, really like this movie. If you liked Evil Dead Rise and more of the Bruce Campbell movies, you'll probably like this but not love it. But if you're like super die-hard, no, I only really like the Bruce Campbell movies, then you're probably not gonna like this. So yeah, I think it was a good time. As I said, I give it like an 8.5 out of 10. So there we go. I'm done. Y'all can fucking come back in now. I got my Tism rant out of the fucking way. Here we go.
Howdy did ya?
So putting Dan in the bank there. But yeah. So we do have a little bit more of Evil Dead Burn. And the one thing is, the director said he had to trim a scene to avoid an NC-17 rating. Still intense and pretty. Honestly, I would have fucking wanted to see that. That probably would have been the best scene in the movie. But yeah, this is not very brutal at all. But co-writer and director Sebastian Vanishek, I think that's how you pronounce his name, recently revealed that there was one scene he had to trim a little bit to avoid an NC-17 rating for the Warner Brothers horror movie, which is now playing in theaters. There was a particular scene where I had to trim it a little bit. The scene is still here, the scene is still intense and pretty brutal, but yeah, my version was, I would say it's not more brutal, but it's colder. It's more raw. So that was more difficult for an audience to bear than that, and had to breathe a little bit. So I changed some little things, but the scene is not 100% different. And that allowed the movie to be R-rated and not NC-17. So yeah, honestly, I would have been intrigued to see that. But I don't know what this, I think it might have been the dog kill, because like they kind of like haphazardly cut that. So I'm like, yeah, it was probably that kill, because it's violence against animals. I assume that's what it is. I don't know for sure, but that's just my guess. Because the dog really fucking gets it. And if you hate animal death, don't watch this movie, because the dog fucking gets it. But yeah,
Damn.
good times had by all. Good stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, the whole people are fainting and stuff. Remember when they were making those Paranormal Activity movies?
Yeah.
And I think that's when that kind of marketing started, about how not only was it that they show you the footage of like people like getting scared shitless out of their seats, which I don't know how many people actually like do that, like, or if that's just, it's probably like from certain screenings, but I think like it's all marketing in general.
Boom.
It's just
There it
a lot of
is.
marketing.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Yeah, they want it to be, oh my god, this movie, because like if you're a big horror fan, you love the idea, oh my god, this movie's gonna make me faint, I'm gonna go see it. It's like people who love roller coasters, same idea. So I think it's all marketing for the most part. Tier list Tuesday poll is up, and we have some options in there. We'll go through that on Fancast Friday.
All right, now I gotta fucking take a look at this. I gotta roast Dan for this one. Hang on a sec. Let me take a look at this fucking tier list.
I made them very timely to the here and the now in terms of the movies you can see in theaters. So
yeah, wow. Okay, not the worst thing ever. Like, you have one good option. I'll click that one.
Look, John, you know what it is? It's about directing the focus of the people onto the one option that they haven't voted for 3 weeks in a row. So you got to think hard.
So you're like
down.
You're like Machiavellian with this shit. You're like I'm thinking fucking 14 steps ahead. All right, I got you.
I try. It hasn't always worked out. For all of you know, we're gonna be ranking Despicable Me movies on Tuesday. So
no, it's not like oh, don't see an Evil Dead movie. It's just like, if you're there, like, it's just fucking pussy ass bitches.
Imagine a streaming with I don't.
Damn.
Hey, do you guys want to rank streaming services? We could do that. Like,
they all suck except for maybe Apple TV, but like that's kind of it.
I feel like, well, look, right now, streaming services has got 25% of the vote. So, I'm not saying it's winning, but hey. Anyway, Mount Rushmore Monday, that poll is also up. You guys can go vote for that.
Horror movies is winning that one.
Dude, I was still wanting the comedy movies to win. Comedy movies had the early lead.
I picked Guilty Pleasure because I love me a bad film.
It would be so fun to talk about guilty pleasure movies.
Thing
it's
is,
fun to understand the idea, though.
This is gonna sound really dumb, and you're gonna laugh at me, but like, I don't really have guilty pleasures because I don't feel guilty for liking the movies I like. So it's just like none of them are guilty pleasures. So I'm like, do I like Indiana Jones 4? Yeah, I do. What are you gonna fucking do about it? I like it. I think it's a pretty good movie. I don't feel guilty for it.
I like it up until the point that it's like, oh, aliens. I'm like, oh man, no.
Guilt.
Hey, sometimes you gotta embrace it. Sometimes you gotta embrace
Caleb doesn't have guilt or regret about anything. He doesn't have social anxiety. Social anxiety fears him.
Yeah. Yep. Of course, you wanted comedy movies to win. Normie. How does that make me a normie? I feel like that's a very difficult one for us to pick. Like, can you pick out 4 comedies easily that are your Mount Rushmore? It's about like making it like hard choices. That's what Mount Rushmore Mondays are about. Anyway, let's move on before we go down any further.
All right, now we do like Dan's like boring shit. Okay.
I don't know, John. I don't know. I feel like there's some stuff in here that you probably gonna want to get into because
oh god, it fucking reeks in here.
Smells like bad food in here. Sounds like a
That's
you
not
problem.
What I thought.
Right.
That sounds like a you problem.
All right.
No, yeah, because I got some good old Duchess. So.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it
I-
reeks,
sure.
but that's okay.
By the way, Batman and Robin is also my number one guilty pleasure movie. So yes, I'm on your side, right, dude? Yeah. Anyway, hey Dan, I'll glaze Nolan the entire show if you skip this part. I do not care because I think you guys want to know this. So there's a lot going on in the business world of Hollywood. Well, it's not really all business because it affects us. Because Neon. Liz, I don't know if you've probably seen many Neon movies at this point because
I have.
literally 7 years in a row.
I
Neon.
want to say Neon is
Yeah.
the Lakeith of production companies. They are just they are open for they're game for anything, and the freakier, the creepier, the better. So yeah,
I mean,
they are
7
the
years in a
Lakeith
row.
Stanfield of production.
It's
companies.
true. Like 7 years in a row, Neon has won the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, including this past year I think Fjord. This year Fjord won. This past year Sentimental Value won. What was that Wagner Moura movie that was nominated as well at the Oscars this year?
The Secret Agent.
Secret Agent. Though that and Sentimental Value were the two big ones. They brought like 7 or 8 of them this year. So those were the two from last year. They had Fjord and like 6 others this year. Now, Neon is primarily a U.S. company. They're based out of L.A. Or not actually exactly L.A. I think they're Santa Barbara, which is basically L.A. They're on the West Coast. Like Bleecker Street is New York. They're in the greater LA area. So they're primarily a U.S. company. Now they do have an international sales business. So this is a little bit of inside baseball with how movie distribution works. So big studios like Universal, Paramount, Disney, Warner Brothers, Sony, they distribute their movies all over the world. They have they're set up all over the world. Neon being small, they have an international sales business, meaning that when they buy the rights to a movie, like when they picked up Anora, or like recently they picked up Artificial, they usually get the US rights and then they'll sell the rights to international distribution if they have the worldwide rights. So then they'll have another distributor in different parts of the world. So you'll see a different logo in front of the movie in addition to Neon if you watch it internationally. Or they, like we'll talk about it later, they are trying to like expand internationally in some areas, but basically that's how it works. Now, it looks like they're trying to set up a UK distribution business, meaning that they will distribute movies in the UK themselves. Recently, they've started to acquire movies and get not just the US, but also the UK rights, including Artificial. So if you skip ahead to the next article, John, this all happened, both of these stories came out on the same day today. So earlier in the day was talking about how they might be launching a UK distribution thing for Neon. Then they sold a stake to Department M, and Michael Schaefer was named the chief content officer, who comes from Department M. They used to work at, I think one of the guys who runs Department M used to work at Miramax, I believe it was, not the Weinstein era. But anyway, one of them worked at Disney. So they're another production company who are now basically a part owners of Neon, and so they're going to be on the board of directors. What that means is, not only are they going to be, adding a bunch of money into the company, which Neon has been looking to do this for a while, and at other points in time, there were other, investors interested, but finally they got a deal made. And as part of that, Neon is also launching Neon TV. So if you're a fan of Neon at the movies, then Neon is now actually going to be making TVs as well. Department M actually has a few projects to bring into the fold as part of the deal that are ready to go into development. So, TV projects. So yeah, Neon now is going to basically, if things go through, they're going to start distributing movies in the UK as well as the US. And they've got a Neon TV business, kind of like Lionsgate has a TV, but they make TV shows. Sony makes TV shows like For All Mankind and such. Warner Brothers makes some of your most favorite TV shows, even if it's not on HBO Max, like Ted Lasso is made by Warner Brothers Television. So yeah, it's just, some good stuff there. But yeah,
don't say Ted Lasso again, Dan, because we might have another lady boner situation.
I mean,
Ted Lasso?
Ted Lasso's the best. It's the best. I've watched it probably 5 times in a row. The whole all 4 seasons, all 3 seasons.
I haven't caught up yet. I'm still watching. Oh, okay.
What?
I know, because it's just, I was saving it because I didn't think they were going to do another season. So I was like, for me, the show has never ended because I never finished it. Like, it's a weird thing that I do sometimes.
You just keep restarting it. What are you even talking about?
I know. I'm getting through it now.
But remember, guys, no matter what, when it comes to the show Ted Lasso, Roy Kent doesn't have a hairy ass.
Yeah. Oi!
Who cares if he does? He's
No, 'cause
here.
he was
he's
very-
there.
he was
he's every
very
fucking
angry
where.
about it.
Roy Kent.
And
You all
I have his autograph, by the way.
have
I
a
have
hairy ass, and none of you spoke up for me. That's like one of the few clips I've seen.
The
from
best.
show.
I have his autograph,
It's
by
so
the way.
good.
I saw his stand-up show. He is delightful. He's quite
Yeah,
literally
it's just so
like
funny 'cause
he's
even though
literally
I
the
know
male
that's not
version of
his real
me,
voice,
and
I've seen him on
well,
Subway takes. I'm
it
like,
is,
oh my
though.
god, yeah, your
It kinda
normal
is.
voice sounds so weird now.
He's so hot. It's ridiculous. Anyway,
Yeah, like, he needs to be in that Hercules getup again, because then the lady boners for
girl.
everyone will come out.
I mean,
Yeah.
he can rock a suit.
Ah,
he
you're
can,
MTG, by
he
the
can
way,
do
yeah.
anything. He can do no wrong. He's all good.
Y'all vote for tier
Anyway.
list before someone commits voter fraud. We'll know where to look, Caleb. We'll know where to look. Sergio saying Neon should get Doctor Who. You know what? If they're doing Neon TV and they're getting in the UK business, they might. You know, hey, it's not impossible. The pieces are coming together. John, let's
As
move
long
on to
as
the
it's
next
not
thing.
A24, so there's no Gen I in my Doctor Who.
Well,
Gen AI in
we
my
gotta talk
Doctor
about
Who.
Netflix for a moment. I want to actually get your takes on this too, because I'm sure you guys in the chat, as well as John and Liz, you guys probably have some thoughts on this. Netflix is apparently looking into live channels and streaming bundles. You know, during apparently they're struggling with an engagement decline. Now, this is something that's been going on for a little while. Yeah. Well, this has been going on for a while, and the reason why seems to be
but
is
again,
because
this is why we need to
Yeah.
have a tier list for streaming services, so we can talk about.
So it's
these
kind of
kinds
like
of
what
things,
Pluto
but-
TV does, where it's like the live channel stuff, right?
well, it's only live channels. Well, no, it's not actually. Pluto has on-demand stuff, right? It's like you can watch, or is it all?
No,
live
but they have like
channels?
live channels of stuff, I think.
Right.
I think that's what
Well,
it
I think the best example would be like Peacock, from the day it launched, has always had like a live channels feature, which is they're just like fast channels. Basically, they run marathon runs or whatever show. Like there's the channel for The Office, there's a channel for Parks and Rec. If you just want to binge, because some people don't like the idea of like, oh, the episode plays and it like skip to the next one, then 5 episodes later it's like, are you still watching? Like if you just click the channel, then it's just gonna run. So people basically want cable, but not cable. It seems to be the case. So Peacock has had this for a while, but Netflix is just adding it, considering it. Now they're not done adding it in, but they are considering adding it in, and it's because they're seeing a lot of decline where a lot of their newer shows, people tend to watch the first season, but then there's a huge decline when you get to season 2. So that seems to be a problem. I have like because this is behind a paywall, so I downloaded like the full version of the article. Basically, they're also considering doing bundling, so they might look to, according to them here in the wrap, they might look to go and bundle with Peacock. So you might have a Netflix Peacock bundle. Now, of course, Prime Video already does stuff like this. Apple TV Plus, I think, offers a bundle
Hulu
with
does
actually
stuff like that.
Peacock.
Yep.
So other streamers have already been doing this, so they're now trying to do the same thing. It's no surprise though, because when you look at it, like the Avatar: The Last Airbender, Running Point, even One Piece, and the new season of Beef, and you talked about The Burrows got canceled. Like those are all shows that have struggled from season 1 to season 2, where the audience has declined quite significantly. And Netflix, I mean, this article goes into a lot of depth about like why that is happening. But essentially, I'll TLDR it, and I want to get your opinions on this. Like, I feel like, according to this article, there's a few different reasons why. One, because Netflix doesn't have a very set strategy for how they release stuff. Like, some of the big shows they might release in 3 parts, like Stranger Things final season. Other shows, they might drop the whole season at once. And then there's also the problem of some shows don't come back for like 3 years. Like, they've done this with Stranger Things in the past. I think Avatar: The Last Airbender has the same issue, where it was gone for so long. So people are just forget about them. And then the other thing that I mentioned in this article is Netflix is trying to become a streamer for everybody. Whereas like now, I think you got a lot of streaming services kind of have some niches. Like Prime Video does a lot of young adult stuff, but they also do a lot of like action thriller stuff. They've got all those like, Reacher, they've got Jack Ryan and those franchises. They got The Boys and stuff. Then Peacock has a lot of reality shows, Love Island, Traders, a lot of other reality shows. They do a lot of sports. Then, you have, I don't know, like give me another, I can even go to Apple. Apple does Prestige TV. They have fewer things, but everything seems to be really good. Apple does great with Sci-Fi. HBO Max is like, you want to go watch award-winning shows? That's HBO. Netflix seems to be like, we got everything for everybody. So basically, like, do they even have an identity? And that's what they're saying. Maybe that's the problem, but people keep churning away because they're like, well, I don't like, I for one am somebody who feels like every time I tap into Netflix, I'm going into like some kind of like, you know, $5 DVD bin, because, you know, I can never find something that I actually really like enough to stick around, and sometimes I'll just open Netflix just to then go to another app and watch something else instead. So I don't know how you guys feel about this, because they have numbers here. Like, for example, you see Avatar The Last Airbender in this first season had 21.2 million views. Second season dropped to 8.7. You got A Good Girl's Guide to Murder dropping from 7.4 to 1.8. The Four Seasons, which is their version of what's that HBO show? The one about, you know, fancy hotel resorts. I'm forgetting the name of it.
The White
Lotus.
Yes, Four Seasons is like Netflix's version of The White Lotus. That dropped from 12 million almost to 4.4 million in its second season. Even One Piece had a drop. So why do you guys think that is happening to Netflix, where a lot of people seem to disappear from the audience from season 1 to season 2?
Well, I think you're right. I think it is an identity crisis. And I think what really their real problem is they should have stuck to what they were originally, right? So they had kind of surpassed HBO as far as like they were the go-to place for
Premium
films,
prestige TV,
right? But they were also the go-to place for like the old classic show, or else, or that you didn't want to stream YouTube for. And then they kind of decided, oh well, we want to do everything. We want to create our own shows, and they started canceling contracts with the older shows. You know, the fact that I can't watch Supernatural anymore is fucking bullshit.
I mean, you can. You just got to ride the high seas.
I bought the DVDs, baby. I bought the DVDs. I don't have to worry about it ever again. But my point is,
true crime.
They should have stuck tried and true to their original formula, to what brought people there in the first place. They had replaced Blockbuster. They put Blockbuster out of fucking business. They should have stuck with that format instead of trying to copy and mirror what everybody else is doing, including going live.
But I also understand like how far would that take them? Because then they might have been stuck in the past.
How many people say they rewatch The Office over and over and over and over again? People were doing that on Netflix before it ultimately went back to Peacock. Same thing. Supernatural, I've watched that 3-4 times.
But I'm just trying to be like devil's advocate, I guess.
But my point is, they would still be getting that revenue if they had just continued to deliver what people actually wanted, rather than try to come up with their own shit. And you know, how many times have we watched a Netflix film and been like, it was mid, it was like, you know what I mean? Like they're trying, but they're trying a little too hard at this point.
Name me one great Netflix movie. I'll wait. Like,
exactly.
It's just like, But I also think it's also definitely a number
Alan
of things
Ritson movie did really well.
But then also again, the fact
nobody
is
fucking remembered
Netflix
that like 2 weeks after it fucking came out.
No, but the fact is Netflix was the go-to streamer for the longest time, and then everybody else decided, oh well, we're gonna have our own streaming. So that was also part of it too. Again, they replaced Blockbuster in the sense that we're gonna wait until it goes to Netflix. You know, and now all of these other production studios are like, well, we have our own streamer. So they all kind of took that business away from Netflix as well. So it is definitely an identity crisis that they're going through.
But there's also like the idea of
but also the fact that they're dicks about sharing passwords and things like that. Like that really fucks
and you know
them over
everything's
too.
more expensive now.
Yep,
but
and that really pissed a lot of people off. Yeah,
it's like Netflix has become a fucking joke.
El Camino's
of
good,
like.
Caleb.
El Camino is great. Yeah, El Camino is great. Frankenstein's great. All right, I'll give you that one. I'm wrong. I got it. But anyway, but the problem is like there's also the joke of like Netflix. They don't fucking greenlight a season 2 like 9 times out of 10, unless it's like Big Mouth.
But again, even when they do, it's like what 2-3 years in between. I mean, how long did it take to get Old Guard 2?
It takes place 2, 3, 4 years in between seasons. It's like I don't want to fucking wait that long because then I gotta rewatch that when there's like 7,000 other shows.
They certainly don't market things well at all. Yeah.
So it's like, what's the point?
And so you know what the upcoming what is it called? Ride or Die, the upcoming Hannah Waddingham, Octavia Spencer show. They keep promoting it. Yeah. I keep thinking it's a movie. I'm really excited to watch the movie, and then I find out it's a fucking show, and I'm like, oh, that's not happening. I don't have the time commitment for that. Like I was really pumped for an action film between the two of them. No, it's a show. Oh, well, you lost me, Netflix. Sorry. Like figure your shit out, man. It's just crazy.
I think the other thing is like you talk. It's that whole. If you're gonna be everything for everybody, you're playing a quantity game, and then you kind of get away eventually by default from the quality game. And the other thing is, They just have a situation where they don't advertise any of their shows as like the go-to show. Like for example, when Severance is releasing, the other streaming services do this a lot. I think it's almost become a norm across most other services. Apple TV does this, HBO does this. They release shows weekly. So what happens is, even for a show like, for example, they were showing in this article that even for shows like Severance, which for example, I'm gonna just say the last season of Severance, I forgot so much shit from the previous season because it was 3 years ago. But because the show is releasing weekly, like it saw a spike. The season 2 finale had a 29% increase in viewership compared to the previous season, and that it got 6.4 billion streaming minutes, which is a lot. But the reason why I did that is because people got a chance to catch up. If you forgot about season 2, like what was going on in season 2, because they weren't putting every episode out all at once, you could, watch the show, catch up, recap, and then, eventually catch up with everybody else. And then, it keeps the show in the cultural zeitgeist longer. And Apple advertises it as like, right now, watch Severance. When they're doing F1, they're promoting Severance. When they're doing MLS games, which are all these things are on Apple TV as well, they're giving you a promo for. And by the way, watch Severance streaming now. Season 2 is out. Or like when Ted Lasso is going to be back, that's going to be the big thing. It's just, or like what Disney Plus used to do. I don't know how much they do it anymore. When they have a big Star Wars or Marvel series playing, they wouldn't have 2 of them going at the same time. So you put the marketing focus on one. What Netflix has tried to do is they market so targeted to the particular audience they think is going to come and, see the show that they're trying to. None of the shows outside of Stranger Things and maybe like Wednesday and I don't know, like Emily in Paris, maybe Bridgerton, but some of those are like long-lasting franchises. I don't know if they're bringing in new subscribers, which is ultimately the game that Netflix wants you to play. Is they want to bring in new subscribers. They appreciate the money we're already giving them, but the new subscribers is the goal. So I think like they just don't have a lot of headline top line shows that that's why I think a lot of shows die after a couple of seasons, because they take too long to come back. You put them out in these odd release schedules. I'm like, make up your mind. Either put them out all at once or actually do week to week. Like I'm tired of the part 1, part 2, 3 parts, 4 parts. And I'm like, in one case they were like, we did it because the production team needed, enough time so we had to split it into 2 parts. I'm like, just wait and then release all the episodes, in 1 week at a time. Yep. Like it's a stupid excuse to be like, the production made us do it. Motherfucker, like, you don't think for like decades TV networks like had these conversations with a production company for a show that they were paying for? Is like, you need to deliver us 22 episodes, or you need to deliver us like the 12 13 episodes for the first half of the season by September or whatever, when the fall season launches, and then you can keep working on the second half, but we better have that shit in the pipeline for February when the season returns. Like it's been done for years, and it's one of those things where I think for some shows like House of the Dragon, if it's been 3 years since the last season, because they're releasing episodes weekly, you can afford to fall behind for the first week or 2 and watch back the first season and then still be able to watch. So even though that's still a problem that they're taking 3 years to come back, people have time to kind of catch on while the new season's still running, be part of the conversations. And because they're releasing weekly, it's not like that, like John, you said, whether it's a movie, but like if you drop all the show episodes all at once, it feels like you watched the movie, and rather than having like, oh my God, did you see how that episode ended, and talking about it for a week, you're just doing a binge where you're like, oh, that episode ended like this. Oh my God, that's episode. I'm just going to watch one more episode. Great. But by 4 a.m. you finish the whole show. But then a week later, you're not going to be talking about it. I've binge shows where I don't remember half the details of what happened in the middle episodes, because you forget about shit when you binge a show, like 8, 10, 13 episodes. It's a lot of, whereas if you watch a show episode at a time weekly, you will remember more details. And I just think those are all the reasons why Netflix is struggling. But I don't know, like Netflix seems to want to obviously try to change things by going the route of, we're going to have streaming channels. They just are signing up more and more podcasts so that, people just, because their engagement numbers are down. And that's because people just keep skipping. So yeah,
they were also a really good go-to for comedy shows. They did that really, really well. But I think maybe they should, if they're going to start, if they're going to, I should say, continue to have their own films and things like that, they should probably go the route of Amazon and put some of that stuff in theaters, in addition to having them on the service. I mean, there's a couple of things they could do. They can do what Disney Plus does and release maybe the first 3 episodes one week and then 2 episodes the following week. There's a lot of things that they can do, and so far, you know, they had started kind of mirroring what other streaming services have done. So maybe they need to continue to do that and follow suit. But yeah, it's an issue, and they got to figure it out. But also, they need to advertise better. Their marketing is for absolute shit comparatively to everyone else at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, I think other than the marketing, they just keep learning either the wrong lessons, but also if your best solution to the problem is adding streaming channels and bundling, I'm like, that's putting a Band-Aid on the actual problem. Like, you need to, in order to create long-lasting franchises and stuff, you need to, you know, fix the problem at its core, not just put Band-Aids over it, which we've talked about. Like, I think weekly release schedules, putting movies in theaters, because it's going to create that lasting impact and build an audience that's going to stay with you and therefore keep subscribed, rather than just being like, oh, we got our one-hit wonder, we're moving on, or like, I'll resubscribe to Netflix 3 years from now when another show comes back. So anyway, we'll leave that there. I mean, good luck to Netflix. I'm sure they'll be fine. They have 325 million subscribers. And to answer your question, C Black, thank you for the super chat. I think the Doomsday trailer will break the BND record for trailers. Like, the 2 highest viewed trailers of all time are the 2 Spider-Man Brand New Day trailers. I think Doomsday will probably break that record, especially if it comes out around Comic-Con time. So, yeah. But anyway, John, I think this next one is something that you probably have a thing or two to say about. Speaking of Netflix, they are among the parties who are in early talks to buy Letterboxd. And apparently Sony Pictures Entertainment, Paramount, David Ellison's Paramount, as well as Alex Ohanian, who's the co-founder of Reddit, they are also interested in this. I'll read from the article for a bit, and I want to get your reactions to this. So, John, if you remember, we talked about it like a month ago, that Letterboxd might be exploring a sale. Now, the company Tiny, the Canadian holding company Tiny, owns a 60% majority share in Letterboxd. The original co-founders, Matthew Buchanan, Carl Van Randow, own the remainder 40%. Now, that 60% was sold in 2023. Now, that company that is trying to get out of this whole situation, they bought that 60% share for 50 to 60 million. Now, because they're the majority owners, they're looking to sell out, and they're looking to sell to somebody. And you got Netflix in there. You got according to Puck, Sony Pictures, Paramount, Skydance. There's a private equity giant, TPG, which has financed movies for years. Then again, the co-creator of Reddit, Alex Ohanian, is in there as well, who's got his own VC firm that he's a part of. Now, Letterboxd representative said that as Letterboxd has grown, it's natural there will be interest in what we do next. There's nothing specific for us to share at this time. Any decision about Letterboxd's future would involve the founders, which we'll see. Now, before I get your responses to this, because I want to get especially John's reaction, like if this actually goes through, you got to remember, like, there's gonna be some conflicts of interest that any of these studios buy Letterboxd. Oh yeah, because of course. A review platform is owned by a movie studio. Now, NBC Universal owned Rotten Tomatoes for years until they sold it. Split it off with Versant. Now, Versant still is a bit of a conflict of interest because they make TV shows and stuff, and they own Rotten Tomatoes. But, that was for a long time. IMDb is owned by Amazon. Amazon has its own movie studio now. So there's stuff like that out there. But, I mean, for a company that as of June of this year had 30 million subscribers worldwide, and that was a big $10 million people jump from just last year. That's 16 million last year. Now they have 30 million. They had 20 million last year. Now they have 30 million, users. That's a pretty big user base. They are looking to get, I think the value for the company has gone up way from like the 40 to 60 million. They're looking to get around 250 million for this company. And with Sony, Paramount, and Netflix in the mix, and potentially, the co-founder of Reddit,
I would say the least.
What do you think?
The least terrible is Netflix, I would say. Netflix or Sony. Paramount doesn't need another fucking thing. Seriously, calm down, David Ellison. We know you're fucking rich with your fucking big swinging dick, but calm the fuck down with like buying shit. You're gonna end up like Nick Cage at this point, where you buy like dinosaur bones for like $1 trillion and then you're left bankrupt 6 times. Like, calm the fuck down. First off. Second, Reddit is Reddit. Like, we don't want them owning more shit. We don't that more incel culture driving into my fucking letterbox. There's already enough incels on that fucking platform. We don't need more of them. So let's not do that either. Like, Netflix and Sony are the least terrible, but it's still not good. But it's just like,
Oh my God! Okay.
people want more money. That's all. They just want more money. They won't leave things be because corporate greed. Here we are.
Yeah, I did mention right off the top that we talked about it a month ago. So this isn't something that is happening out of nowhere. This has been going on in the background for a while. The last time we talked about this, nobody knew who might be interested, but now Puck News was reporting this, and so Variety picked it up, that Sony, Paramount, and of course you got Netflix there, and the co-founder of Reddit, and there's TPG as well. So I don't know, Liz, do you feel any particular way about this? Like Letterboxd being sold to a bigger studio?
I really don't. I don't have any interaction or knowledge much of Letterboxd. I'm not on the internet like that, so I really don't. I'm not aware of it, or what would change if something like that were to happen. But I agree with John. So we'll see.
Yeah, Caleb, as a Letterboxd bro, finds it absolutely horrifying. Major Letterboxd bro, I should make a correction there. It's interesting. Again, we'll find out soon. I mean, 250 million isn't a lot. It's chumps change for Paramount, considering how much they're spending on Warner Brothers. I bet you this could be something David Ellison could just be like, all right, why don't we just add another one to the crown? But like, hey, we'll see. I mean, Netflix getting them would be interesting. It feels very odd because Netflix really doesn't do this kind of thing, like just buying a company that's doing something
it sounds like they're just real desperate right now. Shit.
Maybe we put these stories in the particular order on the show for a reason. Anyway, so let's keep going. John, there is one more story. Now, I don't know if Dark Lead Eric is watching, but this next one is especially for Eric because he asked a question in one of the comments. So I just wanted to quickly address this. So recently, this is mostly for UK audiences. So if you live in the UK and you have BBC, which is free, it's like publicly available. It's like PBS in the US. You recently probably found out that BBC got the rights to Scooby-Doo from Warner Brothers, and that put a big, hullabaloo out for the rest of the broadcasters in the UK, the commercial broadcasters. You got ITV, which does air for free, but they're not like a government-owned and government, funded institution like BBC. So basically what happened here is, BBC has a licensing budget that comes as part of their charter. And they use that sometimes. It's less than 10% of their programming. They say like 5 to 7%, I believe is the number. They don't own Scooby-Doo, but they licensed Scooby-Doo in the US recently. And so when something happens, like you got something like Scooby-Doo, it's owned by an American company, Warner Brothers Discovery. It goes like, we want to sell the rights for the UK distribution to Scooby-Doo to a local broadcaster, and BBC can go in and bid alongside like ITV, Sky, you got Channel 4, you have many others like that. And so BBC has, like I said, licensing fee money that they get as part of their funding from the government, and they use that to get a very small amount of programming like this big stuff that a lot of people watch that is popular, to complement a lot of the lesser known things. Like they'll do other documentary things, or they'll be making like other scripted programming, which, Liz, like if you watch PBS, like not everything on PBS is going to be something that is going to be commercially very viable. There's a reason why you get, public funds to make those programmings, like this documentary series, like Nova, for example, in the US is a PBS thing. BBC does
because the point is to be educational and to have that accessible to anyone. Yeah.
They also have CBBC, which is like a kids version of BBC. So that, like, I grew up in the UK for a few years, and I used to love watching this show called Big Cook, Little Cook, which was like the CBBC was like a few hours or block of kids programming in the mornings. Like Sesame Street is huge in the US. Like, think of it that way. So BBC uses this, like I said, about a small chunk of their licensing fee budget to buy some of these bigger things, because then that draws people in, and then they're hoping that they stick around for the other stuff, you know, like the stuff that BBC spends most of their money on. Now, this has been going on for a while, and it just seems like all these other outlets, especially ITV and Sky, seem to be like getting all up in arms about it, and they're like, why does BBC get to do this? It's unfair that they're using this money. They basically are pushing for this idea that the BBC should only be the last buyer of resort, meaning that if everybody else fails to bid enough money to, like in this case, somebody picking up Scooby-Doo in the UK, then BBC should come in and do it. Basically picking up the scraps, not be in competitive situations. Like, for example, BBC outbid Sky, ITV, and Channel 4 for Schitt's Creek in the UK. So if you go and watch it on BBC in the UK, you have iPlayer in the UK. You watch it in the US, I think it's still on Netflix, but in the UK it's on BBC. So I think overall this is a situation where a bunch of other, you know, commercial broadcasters are crying foul because they don't want to bid enough money for some of these American, you know, popular programming, and they're like, why does BBC get to do it, even though it's like a small 5 to 7% of their actual programming total and comes from a relatively small budget. So, because, you know, then if you come in for Scooby-Doo, they're hoping you stick around for something like News Round, which is a news programming, news documentaries. So it's part of a deliberate strategy to serve their audiences. I think this is completely okay, and I don't think this needs to change. But BBC has been doing a lot of executive shakeups. They're trying to cut 250 million or so pounds from their, you know, expenditure over the next few years. And they just got a new dude in town who's running the show, Matt Britton. So he's like, look, we'll look into this, try to find the right balance. But I think of all the things they're going to have to try to find the right balance on, I don't think this is something that they should be cutting on, because apparently, like, some of the broadcasters have some of the politicians in the parliament convinced about this in the UK, that this is, you know, BBC shouldn't be bidding on stuff like Scooby-Doo. But I'm like, honestly, like, it takes one more competitor out of the market, and then that will, you know, drive the overall pricing. Like, if there's fewer people willing to pay less, then, you know, Warner Brothers Discovery will be like, well, we're not going to earn as much money because BBC is not willing to pay top dollar. So I just think it's anti-competitive. And all around, Eric, if you wanted to know what this was all about, I hope it stays the way it is, because it's just a bunch of competitors making, you know, a big hullabaloo about nothing. Like, it's perfectly fine that BBC can bid and win Scooby-Doo rights because they paid more money than ITV, which is a commercial operation that's not, ideally not as limited, you know, like, they're a for-profit organization, whereas BBC is a non-profit. Like, if you can't outspend BBC, then, you know, you should look in the mirror before you start crying foul, is basically what it comes down to. So I'll leave that there, but just wanted to point this out and mention it because Eric had a special comment, so I went and looked into it. And if you're watching, Eric, then there you go. I hope this cleared things up for you. All right. I don't know if Eric is from the UK, but he does ask a lot about business news, and sometimes, you know, I like to, if you guys have a special, he said especially for Dan, so I'm like, all right, we'll talk about it. PBS, I don't know, how is PBS doing these days? Do you guys watch PBS?
Not well.
They're just surviving.
They're doing the best that they can. They do have their own streaming service as well, which I am a subscriber of, but you know, still a struggle like always. So yeah.
I mean, of course, in the US you have BritBox, which is basically BBC's US equivalent. Although it's like a separate business that runs in the US. In the UK they have iPlayer, so yeah. Anyway, that's the business of Hollywood. Some interesting stuff, some more acquisitions and sales talk. Let's do quick hits. We'll speed things up a bit from here, John.
Let's
walk us through them quick hits.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first thing, well, Liz wanted to talk about it, so Liz, talk about it.
Yeah, so Christopher Nolan's talking about how he's getting all kinds of backlash because there are people of color playing various roles in the Odyssey, as we've seen through the trailers and things like that. So I just kind of wanted to address it by first talking about a comment that was made by Emily Wilson, who was the one that translated the Odyssey and the version that Chris Nolan used for this film. We had talked off air. I don't think I mentioned it on this show, but in the second trailer that came out for the Odyssey, we found out that they say dad and daddy, and I was really pissed off about it. I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard, because it doesn't sound right. It should be father or maybe papa at a stretch. But Emily Wilson was asked about it, and she was like, listen, the Odyssey was written so long ago that father was not a word, dad was not a word, papa was not a word. Like, what we just had to translate it the best that we can. So it really doesn't matter. Like, we could use all modern speak today, because regardless, it's a translation just to get people to understand the story. So this is kind of the same thing, and that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, because Chris Nolan is like, it's a fucking fictitious story about, you know, a time period we know nothing about. It's a translation. Like, you can't be mad at the color of somebody's skin in a, like, it's completely irrelevant. And that is, as he said, it's completely irrelevant. So I just kind of wanted to combine those two, because I was a little irate about the language when come to find out, hey, it's actually completely irrelevant as far as, because of the fact that it's just quite literally so damn old that we, you know, our translators have done the best that they could to accurately display. But if you look over time, you know, I think people are bringing up the fact that, like, African Americans in particular wouldn't have these kinds of roles back then, and that's just simply not true. Yes, every culture has had their version of indentured servants or slaves, but not every single one of them have been African Americans. So I think it's really naive and ridiculous to just go ahead and always make that assumption every time you see an African American existing in a role that you don't believe is accurate. Bitch, you weren't there. Yeah. So
also, Achilles is a fucking twink, so shut the fuck up.
So I just kind of wanted to bring those 2 points, because I felt that it all kind of worked together very well. So.
I think it's that thing of, like, the monolithic version of history that we get taught in American school systems is very much not the representation of, it's an inaccurate representation of how the world actually was, and, you know.
Well, and it's also, you know, they always say, you know, you're reading it for the most part usually in the race that, you know, like, so women read more books written by both men and women, whereas men only read books written by men. Most white people view the characters in books as white unless they're specifically told, you know what I mean? So I get it, but it's y'all get a life out there. It's a fucking film, a fictitious fucking film. Like, Cyclopses aren't real either. Would they be more upset if the Cyclops was African American? Like, fuck off. It's the dumbest thing.
I mean, Nolan did also talk about how, like, he spent 10 years working on adapting Batman. Yes, Lupita Nyong'o is playing Helen of Troy, as far as I'm aware, right? That's still true.
And good for her.
So, like, he said, like, look, I spent 10 years, you know, adapting Batman and getting a lot of flack from people, like when he cast Kristen Bale for Batman, when he cast Heath Ledger for the Joker. But he's like, look, there were 65 years of Batman stories before that, and I just did my version of it. And, you know, people a lot of times make these judgments before they've ever seen the movie and what kind of movie it actually is, which is completely relevant. I'm like, go see the movie and then maybe you can make some kind of a critique, but to just prejudge it,
the fact that a character's race is what's going to hold you back from seeing a film tells me that you weren't committed in the fucking first place anyway. Get over yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm glad he addressed it, not that he needed to, but you know what?
Right.
Yeah, plus, he's not wrong.
Half of these chuds, like, haven't even fucking read the damn thing, so, frankly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I don't remember it. I've read it like 10, 15 years ago.
Well, I did, and I specifically read the version that he based the film off of. So that's why when I saw Daddy and Dad being used in the trailer, I was like, the fuck? But you know what? Chris Nolan can do whatever the fuck he wants,
it makes it funnier. Fucking, you want a daddy? Like, I'll be your daddy. Like, I don't know. I just think that's funny.
Let me tell you something, John. Let me tell you. Have you heard about a
Okay, let's move it along. Come on.
Let's move it along. Naruto Movies launches global casting search for find actors to play live-action Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. And I can tell you it's probably going to be fucking ass, just like most of the Disney live-action remakes. So, yep.
I mean, that's not a Disney live-action remake, but sure.
Anyway, speaking of terrible, Paul Feig to direct horror movie Detention for Blumhouse Atomic Monster. Daniel Gold, who wrote the upcoming Ryan Gosling Will Ferrell movie Tough Guys, penned the feature as a spec, which also has Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes involved. Yeah, it's probably going to be ass. I don't really like Paul Feig. So.
Platinum Dunes, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I don't. Free Willy reimagining set at Warner Brothers, Russo Brothers, Agbo, Mary Margaret Kunze, and Jade Halle Bartlett.
This is part of the fucking problem, you guys.
We'll write
Stop
the new
it with
take
the
on the
fucking remakes, dude. Fucking Fucking stop. First of all, you can't remake Free Willy with our current orca situation. All they're doing now is taking out yachts. They're not befriending lonely fucking 8-year-olds, dude. First of all. Secondly, just fucking release Free Willy into theaters so parents can take their kids and be like, oh my god, this movie, my childhood. Fucking stop. Like, let's make some original shit, you fucks. I'm tired of it. I'll see it, but I'm fucking tired.
But hey, like, make some original movies. Meanwhile, Toy Story 5 makes $800 billion. Yeah, I don't think
it's still an original movie. It's not a remake.
It's a sequel, which is not original.
It's an original fucking sequel, and it's so goddamn good. John, until you see it, stop fucking talking shit about Toy Story 5. Stop it.
I really still want to see it. Yeah.
God Particle
fucking
physicist
great.
Fabiola Gianotti
It's great.
is to get feature biopic by the Invisible Witness director Stefano Mordini. Cool. I don't know any of these people. I don't know any of these movies.
Well, so basically, Fabiola Gianotti was one of the 2 scientists, I think, behind the experiments at the particle collider at CERN in Europe. It actually spans 2 countries. It's that big, and they found the Higgs boson, which is the God particle they refer to it. And yeah, so I'm glad this will be fun. I mean, a biopic about her and a biopic about a female scientist who I think doesn't get enough credit. Yeah, definitely love to see it.
Good for them. I don't really know her, but cool. Glad they're getting a movie. Yeah. Nicholas Hoult, Zoe Kravitz, and Pete Davidson action pick How to Rob a Bank heads to November. So
I actually really liked the idea of this movie.
I'm so excited for this movie.
So it's going from September 4th to November 13th, which is probably good. But yeah,
I mean, they do want to do it for Thanksgiving audiences. Yeah,
because that's what I want to think of when I think Thanksgiving. I think of How to Rob a Bank.
Sure. And this is the first film that I've seen where Pete Davidson actually looks like decent in it. Like he doesn't seem to be annoying in this one. Like he looks like he's actually going to be entertaining in this one. I'm excited about that.
But so
that's fair. But he barely had any lines in Riff Raff.
Yeah, that's why he was good, because he was barely in it. Fanning Sisters World War II movie The Nightingale Flies Closer to Easter 2027. You couldn't get like a better.
Now I gotta read this book. Damn it.
This is also because Easter holiday.
I mean,
there'll be like 30% of they said college students will be out for spring break, so again, more people can go see the movie, so they feel like it's a better time.
By the way,
do you feel like college students are flocking to this? I don't think so.
By the way, I forgot to mention in my Evil Dead review, there is a line in that movie that I definitely want a soundbite for. Because there is a moment where the final girl kills one of the family members of that movie, and she says, "Fuck your family." I'm like, we gotta use that as a soundbite whenever Fast and Furious gets talked about.
Oh, damn. Shots
fired.
Fuck
your family. Bam. Perfect. Anyway, sorry.
I don't have friends. I got family.
No, fuck your family. Anyway.
Your brother never told you never threaten a man's family?
Fuck your family.
You don't think about your family.
From Dan Trachtenberg, sets 2028 release. I'd watch this purely because I like Dan Trachtenberg. But
look at him. He's so handsome. Jesus. It's ridiculous.
Paramount's untitled feature adapts Yehudi's
I'll watch whatever the fuck he wants to make,
about a mishap during a family vacation. I hate Paramount, but this sounds fun.
Sure.
Anyway.
Cool. Yeah. It's coming out October the 13th, by the way. That's the big Friday the 13th.
Oh, shit.
Yes, very nice.
Yeah.
Backrooms arriving in homes next week, so it's coming home on Tuesday, July 14th. Good for Backrooms. Great
I
movie.
might see it at home. I don't know.
It's not a lot. I would say in terms of like horror movies, I think you'll be fine. It's just
so here's an interesting thing that I have not brought up with you guys. I have heard men are more scared of Backrooms. No, men are more scared of Obsession than they are of Backrooms, and women have been more scared of Backrooms than they have been of Obsession. Women actually find Obsession hilarious and find it more comical than scary. So I find that very interesting. So now that's the only reason I'm tempted to watch either one, because I want to.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing about Obsession is like,
oh, I know,
a man getting consequences for his actions.
Yep.
Like,
you guys should be fucking scared
of that. Consequences for his actions. So, yeah, of course, men are afraid of that. Backrooms. Here's the thing. I think here's the thing with Backrooms. If you like Lynchian fucking shit like Severance and shit like that, you're probably gonna like Backrooms because it's very like surreal, like not like within the realm of reality, kind of wonky shit. If you like that kind of thing, you'll like Backrooms. So if you like David Lynch stuff, boom, Backrooms is your bread and butter. So
cool.
With that, Morgan Spector in talks to play Robert Langdon, Rebecca Hall Ida's female lead in Netflix series based on Dan Brown's The Secret of Secrets. What's the secret?
Yet another one.
It's a secret.
They did a Peacock show that only went for one season, so
The Lost Symbol, because it was based on the worst
Yeah.
book and nobody cared about it.
I kind of like that show. But anyway.
That's just from what I heard, because my mom read all the... I think my sister might have too, but my mom read all the books and she hated The Lost Symbol. So she's like, yeah, they skipped that movie because it was not a good book. So I'm like, all right. So.
Cool. Rebecca Hall, I'll watch her in anything. So
yeah.
I do like her, yeah.
She's great.
Yeah.
HBO chief on Heated Rivalry Emmys ineligibility. I'm just proud to have season 2.
Yeah, so a lot of Canadian Heated Rivalry fans are pretty mad because it's a Canadian show and HBO just acquired it, meaning they just got the US distribution rights. So it's not eligible because, I'm sure Canada has their own TV Academy and they do their own awards, but people are just mad. I'm like, well, look, it's if it was a co-production, it would qualify. Maybe season 2 could be a co-production, but basically it's made and paid for by Crave, which is a streaming service in Canada, and so the Canadian streaming service sold the US rights to HBO Max, and that doesn't qualify. So I'm sorry for the Heated Rivalry fans. It's just in the future if that changes.
Anyway,
yeah,
they'll be fine. They'll get over it.
They'll get over it. They have more man ass in season 2 that they can.
Well, I think Schitt's Creek might have been a co-production, meaning it's like Netflix was partly financing the show. That's why. That's the difference. So, anyway.
But in terms of more stuff, U.S. World Cup loss to Belgium averages 33.1 million viewers, the most watched soccer telecast in U.S. history. Might have been goof, but what are you gonna do?
Sucks to be.
Yeah. Yeah, by the way, Schitt's Creek was co-produced by CBC in Canada, and then the US was Pop TV. So that's why it was Emmy eligible, because it was co-produced by an American network. This, by the way, is great because for the World Cup, I mean, they average, even when you add Telemundo, like 46 million views, which is the most for any soccer game. Like, I think it was outside of any NFL game, the last time it was like a Major League Baseball playoff game or World Series game had it like a year or so ago. So outside of NFL games, this is the highest, highest watch broadcast. So yeah, soccer is growing in the US. Cool. And unless you're Canadian or maybe Tony.
Moving on. George Lucas's new LA museum will offer free access to neighbors. The billion-dollar new cultural institution resides in a low-income neighborhood where a quarter of the population lives below the poverty line. Oh, yay, more gentrification. Cool.
No, he's saying everybody that resides within that
cool,
zip code. That's fucking cool as shit, man. That's fucking cool.
This is good because look, the stadium opens September 22nd, which is my brother's birthday.
Hey, I can't pay my rent, but hey, I can go to George Lucas's new museum
for
free.
No, but
what an opportunity to get to leave the house and not spend money. That's fucking cool as.
That's how. Look at how fucking that thing is like awesome. A spaceship. That thing looks sexier than the Academy Museum.
I'd be there every fucking day, dude.
So basically, they have announced that they're offering a free annual pass as well as an early preview to the closest residential neighborhoods in South LA's 90037 neighborhood. So that's the zip code. And then, both George Lucas and Melody Hobson, his partner, have, they just spent $1 billion making this thing. So yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. You get to go experience the best part of the movies. And the least you could do is, just put your day's worries aside for a moment and not have to pay to go see a museum for once.
Exactly. So, no, it's fucking awesome, dude.
Yes, 11 acres of landscape space, 1,300 objects on display. They're gonna cycle in other displays. It's great. Every museum should have something like this. I know in New York, like there's a lot of museums that are technically free and you could just kind of like pay if you want to, but you don't have to. Like the Smithsonian is the same thing, but like this is great. Like George Lucas is in the Smithsonian. He's not funded by the government, but he's doing this. Kudos.
No, it's awesome. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, exactly.
As he even said in the article, he's like, they watched this being built for years in their backyard. Like, the very least they could do is be the first people.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway,
the first one inside. Yeah.
Pam Grier to receive Lifetime Achievement Award at Santa Fe International Film Festival. Good
well
for
deserved.
her.
She's a lovely lady. Love you, Pam.
She's a definition of a leading lady. Her charm, grace, and ability is unmatched indeed.
Hey,
and if you've seen Pam Grier's cinematography, anyway, or filmography.
And now, finally, some good fucking food. Alien Earth Season 2 is officially in production. The series, also casts Tracy Ullman, Sam Sproul, and Jerome Flynn, as we saw from yesterday. But yes, Season 2, baby. Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Hey, that's, Hal Jordan's daughter right there. Kyle Chandler's daughter.
Yeah, apparently the Hal Jordan that dies after episode 1. Whoops-a-daisies.
Hey, we'll get to that later, John.
We'll get to that later, but that's it for Quick Hits, ladies and gents. We're done before Liz falls asleep on camera. So let's say thank you,
John. Thank you for noticing the signs.
Yeah, it's past midnight. It's past Liz's bedtime. Dan, come on, we gotta hurry through this shit.
It's all good. We're getting through it.
I'll power. Tony's here. Tony's still here with me, so I'll power through for my fiance.
But with that, thanks for watching. For the news, now we move on to DCU Daily Time. So let's be blessed, even though the DCU ain't looking very blessed right now.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto. Hunka hunka!
Hey, welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily. It is the final DCU Daily of the week because it is a Friday. So yeah, we're going to get into it. We got some Lanterns news that dropped, some leaks because the first 4 episodes of the show were sent out to, feature writers, to journalists. And of course, what do one of them do? They go right around and, post the leak on Reddit. So we'll talk about that. We'll also, of course, get into other DC news. I'm sure we'll talk about Batman stuff. We'll get into other Superman related things. So with that, John, what are you most excited to talk about?
I'm excited to rip on Lanterns because fuck Tom King.
And of course, Liz, what are you excited for?
I'm excited to talk about They Fight. That show looks pretty good. I wish it was a film, but hey, what are you going to do?
Cool. All right. Let's get into it. John, where do you want to start? Let's get into the quick hits right off the top.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get into those classic quick hits. Apparently, well, first things first, we got to get into comic stuff because 2 classic Batman foes just made their absolute debut. And it might be the twisted versions yet, even though they've said that like 16 times. This is going to be the most twisted villain of the absolute universe. It's like, all right, we already saw that for Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, and Penguin. Let's just, keep it going, I guess. So in Absolute Batman number 22, we learn the origin of Absolute Universe's Harley Quinn. While that story obviously focuses on Harley and her unexpected family, there are also 2 villains who make their surprising debut. The first is Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and while those are typically 2 characters, this version has them attached to each other in a grotesque fashion.
Oh my god, that looks so
That's nothing compared
weird.
to Calendar Man, though, who emerges from a husk of a dead body and is reborn in about the grossest way possible. You can check out both in close-up below. But yeah, so we got Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and yeah, that's literally the substance. That's fucking awesome, man. And apparently, according to this kid, he ate his way out of the body, some shit, twisted kind of rebirth. I don't know. What was
that movie? What was that Demi Moore movie?
The Substance. Liz just said that. Bro,
sorry.
Come on, man.
Sorry.
I heard you.
No. I'm sorry. I went to get a drink. I'm sorry. I probably missed it.
No excuse.
He doesn't listen to me.
I'm sorry. Thank you for the super chat, Justin G. I will bring that in a minute when we get to that.
So yeah,
topic.
good stuff. I need to get into the absolute universe. Gotta waste more money that I don't have to watch and read.
Does this
and all that stuff.
mean that Conan is gonna be part of the absolute universe now because he's gonna pop out of another body next thing you know?
Goddamn. Like, anyway, but yeah. And speaking of Scarecrow, though, first look at Hot Toys Batman Begins Scarecrow figure nails Cillian Murphy's likeness. And, well, this is taking forever. Hang on a sec. Let's try to...
I just have to click on it. You're going to have to just open the website. Unfortunately.
There we go. Ain't that nice?
Yeah. I mean, it took them that long to make this. Like, guys, the movie came out like 20 years ago. Like, well, not exactly, but like 18 years ago?
21 years ago.
21. Oh, shit. It is. Yeah. Well, I'm glad they finally are doing it.
Well, let's make Caleb rage at the mention of Christopher Nolan's Batman. So, yeah, very nice, very nice. And they even got like the this thing going on, like the fear gas. That's cool. Hell yeah, bro.
Love to see it. Love to see it. Hey, at least it was worth the wait. That looks like literal Cillian Murphy from the first movie. Like that is a young Cillian Murphy right there. So yeah. Cool. It's worth the cash.
I'm not
if
a
you're
big
willing
Hot
to spend
Toys
it.
or slideshow guy, but like that looks cool.
It does. It does. I don't think he fumbled it. I mean, like, what are you not like? He was the villain of the first movie. What else do you expect?
He wasn't the
Like,
villain of the first
come on.
movie. He was a side villain of the first movie. The
Whatever.
villain of
You
the
know
first
what I
movie
mean?
was
Like he
Rachel.
was
Correct,
one of the villains.
exactly.
Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. You know what I mean? There was like 3 villains in the movie, but like obviously Ra's al Ghul being the main. So.
But yeah, and then now we get into Ana Aguirre's, thoughts and ideas about a deal with DC, but I think like I don't know why Amelia Alcock's wearing a pantsuit here,
It's
but
totally AI because they just kind of mashed it with like the latter half of the Supergirl costume from
Yeah.
the later seasons of Melissa Benoist. Anyway,
But Ana Aguirre said I had one. They're talking about a deal, of course. I had one back in the day, and by the time Gunn and Safran came in, the deal ended. I had a baby. Then shit happened, life happened, and this kind of just I had to try and go get the Supergirl job. So just like kind of her.
So she wasn't the only one. Basically, like, okay, so she wasn't the only one. She had a multi-picture deal with Warner Brothers, and the deal ended right around the time because they kind of changed up how the company is organized. So there used to be a DC Films division that was part of Warner Brothers Pictures, and then they obviously separated everything to DC Studios. So the previous deals kind of came to an end. She has mentioned before she went on maternity leave, so she did have a deal. Then she went and had a baby and stuff, and it's just not like she got her deal ended because she went on maternity leave. Is because the company went through a reorganization. All of DC got moved to DC Studios. So her deal, as well as many other writers, because Liz and John, I don't know if you know this, but Ana Aguirre was attached to write a Supergirl film with Sasha Kaye's Supergirl.
Yeah.
So once all that went away, her deal went the same way. Now, she's mentioned recently that, she was like, I said no when they first asked me to do Supergirl for DCU because I had done 2 other scripts and they didn't make it. But then the producer was like, no, this time they're actually serious about it. And then obviously we have seen what has happened, but now she's working on Wonder Woman and Teen Titans. So, it's rough being in Hollywood, even if you are a full-time staffer, because things can just, go poof all in an instance, because it's just exactly what happened to her. So she had to work to get the job. I mean, I'm sure, they, I think she had to pitch the script still. It wasn't like they just gave her the job. They just really liked her pitch, James Gunn, Peter Safran. So good for her. I mean, it's a struggle in Hollywood at every level, especially for writers. Always has been. So, yeah. Yep. Yeah, the Clayface trailer looks fantastic. Anyway, John, let's keep going.
So then we have this. I don't even fucking know what this is, but they fight interview with
It's
Andrew
a
Allen and
new
Wendell Pierce,
movie.
who teases
Yeah.
Man of Tomorrow.
He didn't
but
say
apparently-
much. He was asked about it.
No, I don't think there's anything I can say about that. I'll see you in Atlanta. That's your tease. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm sure you guys are going to be taking photos when we're filming in Atlanta, which, I mean, they already done some stuff in Atlanta. So we know that Wendell Pierce is back for Man of Tomorrow. He's probably going to get, criminally underused, much like he was in Superman. But, that's
He was
another
great, though. He
conversation
was
for
still
another day.
so good. So good.
He was, but I'm like, I wanted to see more of him. I wanted to see as much of him as I got, with
I love him in everything that he does. He just
in Man of
is
Steel.
awesome. So yeah.
He is. I mean, he's in the new Jack Ryan movie. He's still doing that franchise with John Krasinski.
Yeah, and didn't it suck ass though? Wasn't it terrible?
Well, the movie was pretty flat. Like, it wasn't like, it was just like an extra extended episode of the show, but they put it on streaming. They didn't put it in theaters, so yeah. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But now
Lynch
we
Drive.
move on.
I don't even know. That was a big troll there. What was that comment
What?
I just put up on screen?
What?
Like, actually, you know what? I don't know. That might be a theory that's worth a look into. You know what, Lynch Drive?
It's the superior
it's
David
there.
Lynch fan, aka
It's
Caleb.
out there. Yeah.
But
he was in Thunderbolts too. Yes.
yes.
Wendell Pierce.
Not Thunderbolts 2.
Does not
there's
discriminate.
never gonna be a Thunderbolts 2. Thunderbolts as well. Just
yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Lanterns, John. This broke as we went live. So I mentioned the first 4 episodes of the show have been sent out to critics to review. And Smacky and Hunter and everybody was asking about this earlier. So, John, you want to walk us through this? Because apparently one of those people who got the episodes just decided to leak a really big episode with spoiler.
Thing. This has been verified by Reddit.
So, wait. Hold on. Before we do...
What? Okay, what? You said
I'm
scroll
just gonna
down.
Put up...
I fucking scrolled down. You can't yell at me after scrolling down.
No, it's not your fault. I'm just going to put up the spoiler warning in case you guys don't want to be spoiled. So there you go. Let's go.
I mean, the comments already spoiled it, so, But this has been verified by Reddit moderators, and some X accounts have been hit with takedowns, so beware of major spoilers from this point on. Apparently, according to this user, which I do have the link for, 2 timelines. Apparently, in the show, there's 2 timelines, which we're kind of aware of, especially with the newest trailer, that it's 2016 and 2026. Yeah. The main plot is the Lanterns looking for the Manhunters in flashbacks. And then Hal Jordan is killed at the end of episode 1. Yes, it seems the theories that Hal Jordan will meet his end in the show were correct, although we can't imagine anyone would have predicted that he'd be checking out in the very first episode, kind of, sort of, and I'll get into that soon.
Stacey.
Like many comic book characters, Jordan has died and returned on the page. He died, Parallax. He died when he was the Spectre. There was a whole bunch of shit. But something tells us this new live-action take on the hero's death will be permanent, because as James Gunn did say, every death in this universe will be permanent. They ain't coming back. So the ring will pass to Jon Stewart, who has been confirmed to make his big screen debut in James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow. This doesn't mean we'll only see Hal in one episode, as we're sure he'll be a regular fixture of the 2016 timeline. I'll get to that soon. As for the overall quality of these first 4 episodes, Jeff Snyder has had some very positive feedback and noted that the worst reaction he heard was that the show was just okay.
Gotcha.
So with that, this is the
John,
original post.
Just gonna say, if you have any rants incoming, do let us know. Just
no rants. I've honestly just made my peace that this show will be ass. Like, it's not gonna be good. I expect nothing from this, especially with, just Tom King. I'm like, yeah, I know. I have gone through the the Kubler-Ross structure of grief. I've just accepted it. I've hit acceptance at this. I hit acceptance a long time ago, so we're good. So a lot of the comments here is talk to people who saw the first 4 episodes and can confirm this is true. There must be some kind of plot twist throughout the series, and he's not dead. This is insane. And this person, the original poster, said there isn't. He's really dead.
Seems like an enterprising. Hey, Chimera.
Yeah. So, me as a Hal Jordan fan, you can't do this to me. You know how much I sacrificed.
You know what I've sacrificed? Oh God, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Caleb's just trolling now.
But yeah, with all of this, my goat died in the first episode of this own show. But but I did read another comment. I can't find it, but apparently one person said, like, yeah, he's gonna die in the 2026, which will cause Jon Stewart to reminisce about their first case together, because it seems like how Jordan was
Oh.
murdered, and so he's going to reminisce about the 2016.
It is
case
about
where
him
he
getting
was being
murdered.
trained, and then so while they're doing that case in 2016, he's going to be investigating Hal Jordan's death in 2026. So it seems like most of the first episode is like Aaron Pierre, Jon Stewart reminiscing that yes, he is in fact dead, and he's reminiscing about 2016. And I assume that's where Guy Gardner comes in, because I don't know if it was me or you, but somebody's mentioned where it's like how much you want to bet that Guy Gardner is telling Jon Stewart that Hal died.
Oh yes,
So
that's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
This is heavy.
now I'm sad
I heard all
I
of
did
this.
say that. No, you're right. I did say
watch
that.
the show. Now I'm like, spoilers. Boom.
So
because I'm thinking like, I was like, it seems like he's behind bars and he's obviously not caught up to what's going on in the present day for some reason. And then, right there's the shot right there. You got Guy Gardner breaking the news because he's become the Lantern. So something clearly like, they skipped the Jon Stewart of it all at some point. But then you got Laura Linney's character coming in and being like, no, you can't take that. Why don't you show us who you are? Or whatever the line was at the end of the last trailer that Laura Linney's character says. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm not entirely like losing faith over this. I just think it's going to depend on how they're going to balance it out, because anytime you're running two parallel timelines,
we will see the Bold Cut, because the Bold Cut is magnificent.
And the present, it's difficult to balance. I mean, Liz, what do you think about this? Like, are you
I think I'm sad that I heard all these spoilers. I didn't think it was going to be this heavy with spoilers, and now I'm bummed because I was actually looking forward to checking out the show regardless of how much John is not excited about it.
Episodes.
I know, but now I feel like you've just told me the whole episode. Makes me sad. You and your fucking articles, y'all gotta be talking all the time, pulling some fucking James Gunn shit over here. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I mean,
it's
supposed to be terrible.
He's fabulous.
Brian,
he's fabulous. You out of your mind. What are you not getting? It plays, baby. It plays.
No, it's not. I'm not eating Ben & Jerry's right now.
Are you having another Arethusa?
Yep. Having chocolate.
Hell yeah,
now.
brother. Hell yeah.
I think I have Ben & Jerry's somewhere. Honestly, my dad might have eaten it because he fucking, fucking scrouges for everything in this fucking house.
Anyway.
Well, we'll leave that there. I'm sure we'll find
Let's
out more
move
about
it
this.
the fuck along.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Let's move it along to really
Dying over
weird
here.
other things. Let's get rid of the spoiler tag. Because apparently Poison Ivy series moving forward, and it will be part of the Bex.
You know what though? If it was like the Penguin, that could be fucking
but
nice.
Here's the thing.
That could be nice though. It could be
Poison Ivy is the most weirdest magic villain. How the fuck are you gonna make that work in the Batman epic crime? What is it? She gonna rub poison ivy on people and that's how they die? Is that gonna be it? Because I can't imagine a bitch who fucking controls plants in the Batman epic crime saga, because Matt Reeves is obsessed with the fucking realism bullshit. So I'm like, I can't imagine how this works.
Madeline Pesh did say she wanted to
now
play
you're calming
Poison
me down,
Ivy.
Dan. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I think it's hot. I think if we had a Poison Ivy show along the lines of the Penguin, it'd be fucking good. I'm here for it.
But remember, ladies and gents, it is coming from one of the trifecta of my worst nemesises, and that's Jeff Snyder. So he reported that DC
your favorite
insider
series, Jeff Snyder,
focusing on Batman villain Poison Ivy, and we now have a couple of intriguing updates, or intriguing because these guys don't fucking edit their shit. During this week's edition of The Hot Mic, hopefully he's wearing a proper shirt this time for Liz's sake, Snyder said that another source has confirmed that the project is definitely moving forward, and it is expected to be set in the same universe as the Batman and the Penguin. Does this mean that the show will feature a more grounded take on Poison Ivy? Yes. Or will Matt Reeves' Batverse introduce metahumans? Definitely not. A character who has the ability to control plant life definitely would have seemed out of place in the first The Batman movie and the Penguin, but we have heard that Reeves' sequel might include more comic booky elements. Thank fucking Christ. There is also the possibility that we see a more heroic or at least anti-heroic take on the character. I fucking hope not,
Yeah.
since she is often
That's what
depicted
they've
in a
done in
more
recent years in
ambiguous
the
light in the modern
comics.
DC Comics era. But there we go.
Yeah,
And
like
we
in
have
the
a little
newer comics, she's usually portrayed
because
more
it's
of an
like we
anti-hero
can't
than a
have
villain.
any female villains. They all have to fucking become anti-heroes. Harley Quinn, Catwoman, Poison Ivy, they all gotta fucking become anti-heroes now. Come on, can
But
we
I feel
just
like
have
that's
like
not
a
even
raging
recent.
bitch that's evil? Like, come on now. I want to see
Again,
that.
John, Madeline Pesh did a Halloween costume as Poison Ivy's, publicly campaigned to play Poison Ivy, put it out there.
Even though she can't really act well, but you know, it's nice to
Hey,
think about.
fair.
you leave her alone.
Oh, John is definitely. Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
So yeah, like, look, it is coming from Jeff Snyder, so it's not.
That's
like,
not the only thing that's coming.
Oh,
it's
Lord.
not confirmed. It's not confirmed. Take
No,
it
it's
with
not
a slight grain of salt. So this could still be something that ends up not actually happening, because like just because it's greenlit doesn't mean like HBO, apparently we'll talk about it later, has passed on another idea from DC, and that was previously greenlit to go. But you know, ultimately once you go through development, you write the pilot script, like the network or the studio can still pass on it. So yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Madeline Pesh is gonna be Poison Ivy. I'm just saying like she was, you know, the latest actress to campaign for the role, so just putting it out there. I don't know what direction they're going to go with this, but if they do a Poison Ivy show, at least that will, to me, like kind of lessen the impact of maybe not getting a season 2 of the Penguin. And then maybe we can, you know, like, okay, so like we're not getting that, but we're getting Poison Ivy. It still doesn't make sense to me, because the Penguin made sense because it directly picked up from the events of the Batman. So are we gonna get introduced to Poison Ivy in the Batman Part 2? Because I'm like, otherwise, I hope they're not doing like just a fresh origin story start from the beginning, because that would imply Matt Reeves has decided that he's gonna stick around with the Batman universe. And
Yeah, but they said they don't like origin stories,
really
so
expand
I
things.
don't think that they would do that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people probably would have wanted Poison Ivy in the DCU to kind of interact with the larger cinematic universe, but I don't know, like, well, again, this is not confirmed, but just, again, Jeff Snyder was reporting on it, so he tends to get things right some of the time, so, you know, we'll leave that there and hope for the best. So, yeah. Anyway, let's keep going. We have one more story on today's show before we wrap up, and it's another one coming in from John's favorite insider, Jeff Snyder, who just also said that the V for Vendetta HBO series from executive producer James Gunn and Peter Safran is apparently not moving forward. John, if you want to walk us through this real quick, this is the situation where HBO was going to have the show, and did they pass on the pilot? Is that what happened?
Yeah, I'm now told that HBO has passed on Jackson's script, Pete Jackson, not Peter Jackson. I know, that would be actually interesting, you know, some random motherfucker named Pete Jackson.
Thank you, because that is exactly how I read it. So thank you.
Yeah, no, it's Pete Jackson, not Peter Jackson.
Thank you very much. I was like, oh, really?
One source told me that Jackson delivered a period-themed take on the material, while HBO was curious to see what a more modern take on.
Why did they not talk about that before this had him write the thing though? Like, if you're just
according to an HBO insider, just because the network isn't moving forward with Jackson's take doesn't mean that a V for Vendetta series won't be redeveloped with another writer down the line. So I mean, you know, I think it could be good. Like, it could have been good, especially if it was a period piece, because I feel like, let's make it modern. Oh my God, like, enough. Like, do period shit. I want period shit. God damn it.
I would have liked to see it, honestly, the period version, because like BBC just did a War of the Worlds period edition or something like that, which was way better than the Ice Cube one. So
I mean, I do think V for Vendetta is definitely one of the best DC quote unquote DC films, even though it's under like one of the indie labels that DC owns. But if you count it as a DC film, it's like top 5 easily. Like, it's one of the best of all time.
I also think, like, some of the themes, right? But I feel like a lot of the themes of what that movie would have been work better. It's like making great sci-fi, right? Like, you a step removed from the world we live in by making it a period piece. You know, you're making about, like, you're gonna have themes about taking down the government with the help of a young woman, anarchy, and, you know, fascist Norse fire party. All these themes and ideas, you can deal with them like a step removed from our world by setting them in a different period or like in an alien environment. I like that idea versus doing like a modern. I think this was maybe HBO thought they were gonna do like what they did with The Watchmen, reinventing it for the here and the now, rather than kind of like letting them kind of live in their own kind of world, like what Zack Snyder did on the movie. So yeah, look, like, this is the kind of thing that happens. Sometimes things don't work out, and then they might revisit it down the road with a different writer and a different vision. And the same thing could happen with Poison Ivy, even if it is greenlit. I think Poison Ivy, by the way, a grounded version of Poison Ivy could really work well in Matt Reeves' world. Like it could work really well, and you could make it, not necessarily a serial killer, but certainly somebody who's got like extremist views and just is maybe comes from, he's a botanist going wild. Like I don't know, like there's ways to do it. But Liz, did you care for V for Vendetta, by the way, like this show?
I did.
At all?
I didn't watch a show. I watched. I'm talking about the film. I enjoyed the film. I did not watch the series.
Well, there is no series, but
yeah,
like,
but that's what you asked. You asked about the show, and I was like, no.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, like, do you care for like watching like what the premise that they had in mind? Would you have wanted to see it?
I might have checked. I mean, again, for me, you guys know, for me, shows are really, really difficult. So I probably would have added it to the list and gotten to it at some point, but we'll never know.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, 1982 it's 44 years ago, but it's still not like 1800s, right? So like it would still feel somewhat relevant to like it's not so far in the past. But yeah, hey, V for Vendetta, unfortunately not on the go right now. So we got a Poison Ivy show possibly going ahead, and V for Vendetta no more. So at least one more DC show on HBO, which is good. So yeah, on that note, I think we will wrap it up for today on DCU Daily. We got Fancast Friday coming up, so stick around because it is a DC topic. DCU Darkseid is what you guys voted for, and so we will get into that. Hopefully it will be a lot of fun, and if you guys want to join us there, go ahead and do that. If you're not going to join us there, then of course, don't forget to go and vote for your Tier List Tuesday poll. Don't forget to vote for your, Mount Rushmore Monday poll. Both of those are up right now, and of course, we'll be talking about those next week. Until then, Liz, thank you for joining us today. It is definitely past your bedtime.
Good night, everybody. Yeah. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely, and John, thank you again. And John and I will be back in a few minutes with Fancast Friday. Until then, as James Gunn would say, stay blessed from the beginning.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you really I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Remember, though, fuck Jeff Snyder, Tom King, and David Ellison. All three of them had stories, and fuck all three of them. All of them suck.